without informing him. Ramaphosa says he's also told Mchunu that, in his view, the decision to disband the task team was a decision for National Commissioner Fani Masimula to make because this was within his powers. Ramaphosa was responding to written questions from the ad hoc committee that's been investigating allegations of police corruption, who questioned him about Mchunu's decision. The committee agreed that Ramaphosa doesn't have to appear in person and should make written submissions instead. Babalondenza reports.
President Cyril Ramaphosa has thrown Minister Senzo Mchunu under the bus in his submission to the ad hoc committee, denying that he supported the decision to disband the PKTT immediately. Mchunu had testified before the committee last year that he informed Ramaphosa about the decision that has been called irregular, and the president agreed with his decision. But Ramaphosa says he met Mchunu in February last year, where he gave his reasons for the directive. Ramaphosa says he conveyed his dissatisfaction at not having been consulted prior to the decision being taken. He says he informed Mchunu that he wanted to be kept abreast of any further decisions that would impact the work being done in relation to political killings. Ramaphosa says he did not provide Masemola with an update, but says he understood that Masemola had disagreed with Mchunu. He told the committee that he's provided all the information at his disposal to the committee. Babalondenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
At the Madlanga Commission, Organised Crime Officer Sergeant Fani Nkosi has admitted to putting the lives of witnesses and police at risk by sharing confidential information with a taxi boss. WhatsApp texts before the Commission showed that in 2024, Nkosi shared a crime report on the shooting of Soshanguve taxi boss Opasi Tola with a civilian. The civilian was described as a businessman with interest in the taxi and private security industry. The report Nkosi shared contained details of the person who survived the shooting, which clinic they were taken to, and the names of the police investigating the matter. Co-Commissioner Sesi Baloyi questioned Nkosi on why he shared such sensitive information with a civilian.
By sharing the details of this person who is in hospital, their name and where they were taken, that you were potentially placing them at risk when you share this with a member of the public. Do you accept that?
I accept that.
Okay.
Nkosi then tried to defend himself, saying the report was already in the public domain.
I'm not shying away from taking full responsibility, even though it was in public domain. But I think maybe I was wrong to forward it further. But automatically, it was no longer confidential because it was already on Facebook.
ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula has clarified that Dada Morero will remain as Johannesburg mayor. Mbalula hit out at the party's Regional Executive Committee for overstepping its authority by attempting to recall Morero. The committee resolved during a special meeting over the weekend to remove Morero from the city's top post. Alfara Mushwana reports.
The authority to appoint a mayoral candidate in a metropolitan municipality no longer rests with the ANC's regional structures, but now falls under the party's national leadership. The party says this means only national leaders have the power to recall a metro mayor, and regional structures can no longer make recommendations for their removal. It is on this basis that ANC Secretary-General Fikile Mbalula says Dada Morero will remain in his position.
There's no mayor that is going to be removed by the region. Let me tell you that. And I'm going to meet them, the region. We don't discuss that. The NWC is clear that what the comrades in Joburg have done, it shouldn't be done. We face challenges from time to time, but it's our structures, we'll talk to them.
Mbalula is known as a staunch Morero ally and has multiple times sworn allegiance to the mayor of the City of Gold. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
And Iran has targeted energy facilities across the Gulf and threatened further destructive attacks after a key gas field was hit. This has raised fears of a wider assault on fuel supplies that could jolt already rattled global markets. The warning came after Israel killed Iran's intelligence chief Ismail Khatib, the latest in a string of strikes that have destroyed its leadership since the war began nearly 3 weeks ago. Tehran, following an Israeli strike on its South Pass gas field, said it would respond forcefully to any further attacks on its energy sector. Qatar says an Iranian missile strike sparked a fire, causing extensive damage at its main gas facility, prompting Doha to expel 2 Iranian diplomats. Saudi Arabia also says it intercepted drones targeting energy infrastructure in the east, while debris from a ballistic missile landed near a refinery south of Riyadh. Saudi Foreign Affairs Minister Faisal bin Farhan bin Abdullah says there will be consequences for Iran's attack.
The targeting of Riyadh while a number of diplomats are meeting, I cannot see as coincidental. And I think that's the clearest signal of how Iran feels about diplomacy. It doesn't believe in talking to its neighbors. It tries to pressure its neighbors. The kingdom is not going to succumb to pressure. And on the contrary, this pressure will backfire.
Gold is trading at $4,874.23 an ounce. The rand is at 16.96 to the dollar, 22.53 to the pound, 19.46 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $111.04 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the M3 North in the Germiston area. This is between the Elands interchange and Van Buren Road. Roadworks are taking place along this route, and there's also an accident scene. Please be on the lookout there. While travelling on the Mark 1 North, queuing traffic between the Xavier Street off-ramp and the Crown interchange.
And in your sport, 23 goals in the Champions League last night as Barcelona, Liverpool, Bayern Munich and Atletico are through to the quarterfinals. Senegal's government's called for an investigation into corruption after the national team was stripped of the AFCON title. And important notice, the Live Golf first round starting at Steyn City today. Tee-off time has been moved earlier. Players will tee off from 10 a.m.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg starting at 14 degrees, peaking at 25. Pretoria 16 and 28. Vereeniging 14 and 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. President Cyril Ramaphosa says he's dissatisfied with suspended Minister Senzo Mchunu decision to disband the police's political killings task team without informing him.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Eight minutes after 6 o'clock. Welcome to the program. It's Thursday, the 19th of March, the year of our Lord 2026. Welcome to the program if you've just joined us. So much on the go. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa. On our menu today, we are going to be looking at concerns around energy in South Africa. Don't know if you've seen WhatsApp messages circulating in various groups being forwarded about possible diesel shortages. Certainly we're expecting the price of fuel to go up next month. It's an ongoing conversation because the goalposts around this Iranian war keep shifting. Donald Trump looks like he wants a deal. He's been talking about how smart the Iranians are. People of very high IQ, he says. He's suddenly figured all of that out by himself. A big interview. We are in short of good news. Think back to that historic heart transplant. Dr. Chris Barnard at the helm. Maybe not quite the same degree of complexity, but nonetheless worth talking about. Two little darlings, twins, quite literally joined at the hip. Conjoined twins joined in the abdomen, sharing vital organs. The hours it took to separate them safely, and this done at a rural public hospital. A big interview is with the chief pediatric surgeon who led that effort. Huh?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
But that's not all. There's more besides, as we used to say in my preaching days. Our good news will continue with David Frankel, a South African tech pioneer. He is a venture capitalist. He's a philanthropist. He's one of those guys who was able to identify good deals from very early on. I think he was one of the first people to invest in Uber, for example. He's made gazillions. Okay, maybe not gazillions, but you know what I mean. And he's now plowing some of his dollars made overseas back into rebuilding our city. He's working with the Maharishi Next Up Institute of Technology. We'll speak to him just a little bit before 9. Isn't that great?
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
As always, our mission is to tell you what's going on in the world, why it's important, and most of all, how it'll impact you. We want you, as always, to be part of our informed community, part of the conversation. And wherever you are around 702 land, you are our ears, you are our eyes. You see, you hear anything, do let us know. The WhatsApp voice note line is 072 702 1702, and we welcome your calls on 011 883 0702. As always, of course, we start with a shout out, and my colleagues are joining me now to have a conversation about that. Amohela Ngramela is on traffic. We've got KG, of course, as always, on the desk. Muteo Kharipe is here on business. We've got producers Robfiwa and Bapelile behind the scenes. Cindy Paluta, everything you need to know from the Champions League, the goal fest that it was last night. Sfisa Zulu, of course, with the latest eyewitness news updates. Now, our shout out this morning is simply this. Do you trust your gut, or do you defer to expertise, particularly if it comes with a title? What do you do when you're sitting there and you're thinking, is not make sure? And you're not the expert in the field, but what you're being told, you're just going, huh? Do you swallow your doubt and go with this person because they have a title, because they've got the degrees, because they've got the expertise? How do you handle those situations where you're being given, suppose it could be financial, it could be health, it could be education, it could be parenting, it could be professional advice in terms of your particular sector, and everything you know and your instinct is saying is not make sure, man. What do? Defer to the title of the person giving you so-called expert advice? Do you ask more questions? Do you go to, for example, I've got in my book club, I think there are about 4 or 5 doctors, a number of them specialists. When I get medical advice, I go, doctors in the house, Nitini, Vatseyela.
Your in-house.
Yeah, just, and they'll say, look, within the ballpark, yeah, sounds just about right. Right? What do you do, Muteo Kharipe?
Look, with professionals, it's very hard to tell them to their face, look, I think you know what you're doing, because, they've done the work, they have the title, right? But secretly, you go to get a second opinion and see if you can get a different option or solution. But if it's somebody giving advice, it depends who it is. And let's be honest, you have to rate that person. If you don't rate them, then you're not going to take the advice.
Remember that movie? Oh, you think you know everything since you got your degree. We as African Malani were saying to me earlier, we're trained to be skeptical, right? As journalists, our job is to ask questions.
Yeah.
How do you not let that get in the way? Because part of what I've had to deal with is, Bongani, not everything is an interview. For goodness sake, right? You don't want to overplay your sense of importance when you might actually be out of your depth. How do you keep your, dare I say, as a journalist, your trained skepticism? Not even your natural skepticism, is your trained skepticism. And yet at the same time, letting the expert be the expert. Amo?
Yeah, sometimes you just have to let the expert be the expert, but also take it with like a room for not necessarily disappointment, but just say, you can be right, but you also could be wrong. Because even in medical circumstances, mistakes do happen, right? So you just have to, take it with... Yeah.
I won't necessarily challenge you.
Yeah, of course you can't.
I'll just go, wait.
But you will go to the next person who also is an expert in that industry. I do the same as well. If I know that Bongani is really good at this, I will listen to what Muteo is saying, but I also want to hear what Bongani thinks of this issue. Yeah.
But to Muteo, we go, man, man.
I know you don't. Yeah, we
right.
No, not all right, but we get you. I get you.
I heard.
I hear you.
All right. What do? Let us know on 072 702 1702.
Let's walk the talk.
702.
It's 6:15. I also want to know from you, how do you feel about things in the country in general? The president yesterday, it's a bit of a bombshell to hear that he, in fact, said to Senzo Mchunu he was dissatisfied with the decision to disband the political killings task team, principally because the president says, do I call him the suspended police minister didn't consult him. How does that square up? You will remember in 2018, the political killings task team was set up because of that interministerial committee established by President who? President Cyril Ramaphosa, which was never disbanded, said interministerial committee. And what was the political killings task team looking at? What were they tasked with? Looking at political killings in KZN. Surely you go back to the guy and understand the president's technical argument that he doesn't focus too much on operational matters. His job is to give policy direction. But ultimately, if something has been put in place and you are sitting on top of the structure to deal with all of this, surely at the point that somebody's making decisions that go against that, you are at the very least informed. Not so much that he would have been seeking permission, but just, hey, my guy. What do you think, Mateo?
I think when I saw that statement yesterday, I thought surely the president would have known something like this, because you do get briefed about and updated about how things are going, and I'm about to make this big decision.
Are you saying is not make sure?
Is not make sure.
You're going to consult.
It's above my pay grade.
On the other hand, Nigel, it was the 31st of December. You see where I'm going?
So you're saying the president might have said, okay.
This prior man,
No one was paying attention.
People are busy counting their monies on their couches.
Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
17 minutes after 6 o'clock. I want to bring you up to speed now with what's happening in the US of A, of all places. I want you to listen to this really intense exchange. This is a Senate hearing, right, in the US Congress, Parliament, their Parliament essentially. The Senate is questioning the Director of National Intelligence. Her name is Tulsi Gabbard, right? She's being questioned by a Democratic Senator, one John Ossoff. Some people are saying this is a name to watch out for in the future in terms of prominence in US politics. But it's all to do with that key question around the motivations for this war against Iran. Because you'll remember, it was the US President Donald Trump who last year told us the Americans and the Israelis had completely obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities. So how is it then that less than a year later they are bombing Iran because suddenly Iran is 2 weeks away, 4 weeks away, as Trump has been saying, from having a nuclear bomb? Which is it? So in the Senate hearing, the Director of National Intelligence is being asked, okay, what does the intelligence community say about all of this? I mean, is Trump right? Is the White House right that Iran was weeks away from acquiring a nuclear weapon when we obliterated that capability less than a year ago? Have a listen.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that, as the White House claimed on March 1st, there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime? Yes or no?
Once again, Senator, the intelligence community has provided the inputs that make up this annual threat assessment.
You won't answer the question.
It is the nature of the imminent threat that the president has to make that determination based on a collection and volume
You're here
of
to be
information and
timely.
intelligence that he is provided with.
You're here to be timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
Exactly what I'm doing.
No, you're evading a question because to provide a candid response to the committee would contradict a statement from the White House.
So essentially what John Ossoff there asks her is, do you agree that we obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities? She says, yeah. We totally destroyed that. Yes. So then how is it that we are now going to war with them because they're about to acquire a nuclear weapon? What's the assessment of the intelligence community? And she says, well, it's the president who decides all these things. And he says, no, my dear. No. What's the assessment of the intelligence? No, it's the president who.
Essentially, what do you know?
And she wouldn't say. Because as you hear in that clip, because giving an honest answer would contradict the White House. This is nothing but a fool's errand, I tell you.
702.
more than a radio station.
Let's walk the
20 after 6, Mateo Haripa, you've got a question of your own?
Yeah, I want to know this morning from you and the 702 landers, pardon me, how do you prepare for a time where you know you'll be tight on money? Either you've taken on a new project, maybe refurbishing your home, or your child has gone to an even more expensive school. And what's usually first to go when your finances are faced with a big responsibility?
Oh, I mean, I think obviously entertainment is one area to focus on because entertainment is multifaceted, right? It is going out. It is maybe even birthday presents. It's the fuel it costs to
get
around, or the e-hailing services that you spend money on to get around. So, yeah, fewer social interactions because those almost always come at a cost. I think that's about the first thing to go. So when you see me and when you don't see me, you must know the difference.
When you don't post videos on Friday.
No, I just post videos of myself dancing in my kitchen because money's tight. Right?
Yeah, sure.
But I'm sitting there dancing in my kitchen.
You're not about to step
It's
out.
not because I'm happy.
Oh, okay.
Because, hey, I'll be happy here at home, not at your house.
Amu, first cut?
Definitely extra help in the house. So if it's like domestic help, your cleaning services, laundry, and also just having someone to look after the kids, usually that's the first cut because my husband and I, we both available to do that, and we only take on extra help if we can. And also some of the extramural activities. I mean, when you have a young child, they will have 5 to 6 extramural activities that they do outside of the school's activities. So some of those also get the cut.
I'll tell you why I'm asking.
702.
weather.
What conditions can you expect on this Thursday? Gauteng to be cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers. Temperatures peaking at 28 degrees in the capital. 25 is your high in Jozi. 26 in Vereniging. Bloemfontein peaks at 28 as well. Bombela 27. Mahikeng 29. We got a WhatsApp voice note the other day from someone who is in Mahikeng who says, hey, what about us? We see you in Mahikeng. Durban, partly cloudy, maxing at 29 degrees. Gqeberha and East London, 27 for both. And a cloudy Cape Town, finally at normal temperatures, right? Human temperatures that we can recognize. Remember, there were 40 just a couple of days ago. Now they're at 23.
EWN Traffic.
First look at the roads. This EWN traffic brought to you by Ford. Live at your peak in the Ford Everest. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got delays on the N3 North. It is an accident reported along this route causing heavy traffic volumes. This is between the Yelands Interchange and Van Buren Road. There's also queuing traffic on the Mike 1 North. Peak time delays here between Boysons and Carr Street. While traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays on the R80 South. This is between the R513 and Eskempahlele exit. More updates coming up, but if you see anything else, we're on X at EWN Traffic.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Weekend away? In your Ford Everest, you're not traveling, you're exploring. That's peak living in the Ford Everest from only $9,999 per month with 10% deposit when financed through Ford Credit, a registered financial services and credit provider. And with our Ford Family Promise, you have access to 60-minute express service, 5.85% variable interest rate, 40% residual, 72 months to pay, risk profile dependent. Visit your nearest Ford dealer today. T&C supply.
Start your day with Bongani Bingwa
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
It is 24 minutes after 6 o'clock. We're asking you the simple question. When you are speaking to an expert whose advice you're not certain about, how do you deal with that second guess? Do you get opinions from other experts? Do you confront them directly? Do you go Google? Do you ask AI? Let us know. We'll tell you why we're asking you that question. All right. Think about a near perfect score. North Korea, 99% of voters saying yes to Kim Jong-un's Workers' Party, a landslide in the 2026 parliamentary elections with a turnout reported at almost 100%. But of course, the twist is they only voted for one candidate. That's who they had to choose from. It was Mateo or Mateo. And 99% of voters out of 100% in terms of the turnout. You ever just look at some numbers and think, why'd you guys even bother? Like, couldn't they make it 92% nyana, hey? 99%. Yeah, ne? Finland, once again topping the World Happiness Report for the 9th year running. 9 years. Right behind them are Iceland and Denmark. Israel cracks the top 10 at number 8. I mean, why wouldn't they be happy, right? They're winning everything, aren't they? Costa Rica makes a splash in Latin America, and the usual English-speaking heavyweights, United States, United Kingdom, all of them trailing behind. What do you think we should score in the World Happiness Report? Should we even be in the top 20? Are we a happy nation despite our troubles? We're not happy because of them, that's for sure. Do you share a surname with someone famous? No Kanyam Dambo from EWN told us how many times people would ask her, do you know Linda? Is Linda your brother? I think once or twice she may have said yes just to just to get into a club somewhere. I know she's listening. I mean, there's this election in some little obscure town in France where two rival politicians are on the ballot. Charles Hitler and one Antoine Renaud Zelensky running neck and neck. Nobody cares who they are as individuals, but everybody's fascinated by these surnames. Do you have the same name as someone famous? And has that got you into trouble? Or in the club? Now, the Manchester Royal Infirmary has dismissed a dietitian who, upon being tested, struggled to identify basic anatomy, couldn't identify where the intestines are, for example, or explain the function of the gallbladder, or calculate a patient's BMI. It turned out she had misrepresented her qualifications, leading to her being struck off and prompting tighter recruitment checks. So how do you know that that expert who's giving you the advice is really the expert they claim to be? That's why we're asking you, if you get expert advice and is not make sure, how do you check? Which action star from your childhood do you remember the most? Perhaps do you miss the most? Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Mel Gibson, the Whisperer, Steven Seagal. I ask you that, of course, because yippee-ki-yay, right? Bruce Willis, one of Hollywood's defining action stars, was born on this day in 1955. Who's replaced all those guys? Are there any action heroes worth talking about today that have grabbed the imagination quite as much? I mean, do the likes of Jason Statham or Dwayne Johnson quite measure up to Stallone, Schwarzenegger? Do they? Chuck Norris? Do they? I'd love to know.
702.
The newspapers.
Our news action hero is Sifiso Zulu.
Yeah, listen.
Are you my hero?
Can I please do my segment quickly? In India, there's been a tragic incident which has raised fresh concerns about electric vehicle safety. 8 people, including 2 children, have died after the vehicle exploded while charging at a home in Indore. And the investigators suspect that a short circuit may have triggered the blast, but a full investigation is now underway. But now there's just concerns about the safety of those vehicles, especially in India.
All right, the front page of the Sowetan. Schools unplugged, 36 switched off for not paying electricity. Eskom warning of a 240 billion rand surge and 114 million rand for ghost teachers, says the Citizen.
EWN.
Where's your first cut when you know money is going to be tight? Mateo wants to know. Entertainment, budget for the kids' extramural activities. Park the bigger engine, maybe get a smaller car. Do you downgrade? What prompts the question, Mateo?
Well, Bongani, South Africa's inflation number cooled in February, right? A good announcement from Stats SA, settling at 3% year on year, down from 3.5% in January. At 3%, the number is at the SARB's preferred target of 3%. Despite the price reprieve, analysts warn, though, the slowdown could be temporary as the ripple effects of the US-Israel war against Iran will show up in upcoming releases, which means in the next few months they expect prices to rise. Stats SA says the main contributors to February's inflation rate were housing and utilities, food and non-alcoholic beverages, as well as insurance and financial services. The local retail sector also starting the year on a strong note, with sales rising 4.2% year on year. This is the fastest growth in 6 months and well above expectations of 2.5%. Despite this, consumer spending is expected to slow down in the next few months as fuel prices push up prices at the shopping aisles. Now, according to the latest daily data from the Central Energy Fund, the price of 93 octane petrol is set to climb by around R4.27, while 95 octane is set to climb by R4.74 a litre. Diesel prices are even worse, at closer to R8. So I'm not saying the sky is falling, but it's not looking good, especially in the next few months. So start preparing and jigging your budgets around.
All right, give us the figures as they stand.
The rand weaker this morning by 0.5% against the dollar, 16 rand 81 against the US dollar, 19 rand 36 against the euro, at 22 rand 39 cents against the British pound. Price of gold at $4,865 an ounce, is down 2% this morning. Platinum at $2,056, while Brent crude is up 4.8% at $108 a barrel. More business after 7.
Back to our news action hero, Sfisa Zulu. What you got?
Thanks, Bongani. Good morning. A law firm challenging the appointment of Andy Mothibi as head of the NPA says its application is not an attack on him personally or his extensive legal experience. The High Court in Pretoria has heard arguments from Bikulu and Partners Incorporated seeking to have Mothibi's appointment set aside. The firm argues that Mothibi should have been part of a public interview process conducted by an independent advisory panel that was set up by President Cyril Ramaphosa to select Shamila Batoy's successor. Ramaphosa appointed Mothibi after candidates interviewed during that process last year were unsuccessful. The firm's advocate Ngaba Buthelezi says Mothibi's appointment was fundamentally flawed.
This application does raise a frontal point about a central issue of constitutional validity of how the President appoints the National Director of Public Prosecutions. The fact that the President opened the process to public scrutiny and subsequently shielded it completely. That is a valid point to be brought to the court's attention.
The city of Cape Town has been hit by water shortages, with households and businesses being urged to use water only for essential purposes. Dam levels have slipped to 50.4%, and city officials say the window to avoid water restrictions is narrowing. The city's Zahid Badruddin says daily consumption has climbed at concerning levels, and he says if demand remains high, the city will be forced to introduce water restrictions earlier than November.
Fixing leaks, using water wisely in our homes, and reporting burst pipes immediately will help us ensure we reduce water losses as far as possible.
Lawyer William Booth says his client, Bulgarian fugitive Stanislav Staminov, is not a flight risk and should be granted bail. Staminov wants to be released pending his extradition to Romania, where he faces a 16-year sentence for drug trafficking. He was sentenced in absentia in 2009 and an Interpol red notice issued in 2018. Staminov has lived in South Africa for over a decade and works for a personal trainer. Ntutu Zelonene has the story.
Stanislav Staminov appeared in the Wynberg Magistrates Court yesterday, but bail proceedings were postponed, allowing further consultation with his legal team on aspects raised by the prosecution. The state argues his South African residency, granted in 2019, was obtained fraudulently, alleging he failed to disclose his conviction. Booth says there's lots of confusion around the Romanian conviction and sentencing.
It seems he was held in custody, then he was convicted and sentenced in his absence. That's the allegation. How that would happen is a complete mystery to me. If he was in custody, well, then he should have been there at the time the conviction and the sentencing took place.
Ndutu Zelonene, Eyewitness News.
In South America, the leader of one of Ecuador's biggest drug trafficking gangs has been arrested in Mexico City. Angel Esteban Aguila Morales was wanted in connection with the murder of presidential candidate Fernando Villavicencio in 2023. Aguila had obtained papers using a fake Colombian identity, and he was the subject of a red notice issued by Interpol and is linked to drug trafficking, extortion and homicide. Colombia's President Gustavo Petro has described him as one of the world's most notorious assassins. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 14 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 25 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N3 North. In fact, bumper-to-bumper traffic between the Airlines Interchange and Van Buren Road. Travelling on the N17 West out of Boksburg, we've got roadworks taking place and they're causing delays. This is between the R21 and Osborne Road.
The top story this hour, a law firm challenging the appointment of Andy Mutibi as NPA head says its application is not an attack on him personally or his legal experience.
Part of the 702 family.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Lekalakala, station Pomola. I love 702 because 702 always keep us updated. Everything that happens around the world is the first one to let us know what is going on.
Welcome to our 702 family. Let's walk the talk.
With that insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like being on the opposite side of the traffic jam. 63-year-old Almero saves a mind-blowing 417 Rand on his 2021 Ford Ranger. Get a quote now. And if insurance can't save you money, ask for 500 Rand or 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. Get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP. T's, C's, and information online.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
The Audi Open House Sales event is here and you're invited. Come test drive a wide range of Audi models, take advantage of exclusive offers, and stand a chance to win an all-expenses-paid trip to Formula One, courtesy of Audi. The Audi Open House Sales event is now on until 30th of April at Audi dealerships nationwide. Book your test drive today at audi.co.za. Terms and conditions apply.
Coming up in the next hour, what's the question? And it's brought to you by Outsurance. 3,000 Rand in cash is up for grabs. You need to send us an answer based on something that piqued your interest during the show, and for that you win 1,000 Rand. Simply WhatsApp us your name and the answer to 072 702 1702. Then, a little later, someone else will ask a question to win 2,000 Rand. You always stand a better chance of being selected if you've SMS'd out to Outsurance and got yourself a quote. So SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Boggles. This nonsense that Cupcake didn't know that the Minister of Police had disbanded the police investigation squad. He's citizen number one. He gets all the briefings every day. Maybe he's lazy and he's not reading them, but his selective memory. Let's go back to Marikana and the fact that he sent an email and he called for concomitant action. I'd like to put it to the South African public that Cupcake is just a cleverer criminal than Zuma. But you know what? He has defrauded this country of more money than Zuma could ever have inspired to with the use of the Guptas who bled us dry. The man belongs in jail.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I think you need to have evidence. We can criticize President Ramaphosa. We can disagree with many of his decisions, and Lord knows I've made that clear from time to time. But you're going to need a little bit more evidence to come up with that. I don't know if the two are nearly the same thing. And And I always take issue with the concomitant action quote in particular. This was in the context of Marikana, where striking workers were cutting people's tongues out who refused to participate in the strike. Concomitant action, he said, deal with this. Deal with it with the necessary force. This is outrageous. And everybody always hangs on to that concomitant action. What does concomitant mean? It means an eye for an eye. Deal with them in the same way they're dealing, but use the law. He was writing that to a police commissioner, a provincial police commissioner. There's no concomitant action if there's no action to inspire a retaliation. You see what I'm saying? He says, deal with these guys in the same way they're dealing with the non-striking workers. We can't be ahistorical. You can disagree with Ramaphosa, that's fine. But I think let's just hold our horses. It's not nearly the same thing.
Bongani, how can we be a happy nation when we are exposed daily to shocking news? You watch the news, you listen to Madlanga, you listen to the radio, you watch the ad hoc committee. Can never be happy. Never. KK Centurion.
EWN Sport.
I have two more stories to tell you about. There's the Central Drug Authority. They fall under the Department of Social Development, and their job essentially is to act as an advisory body to oversee the fight against substance abuse in this country. Right? I know this is not sport, Cindy, but I'm just throwing it in.
No, you get drugs
in case
sport.
you're wondering. In case you're wondering, what does this have to do with sport? But I'm just responding to that voice note quickly. Right? The CDA doesn't manage its own budget. So remember, their job is to oversee the fight against substance abuse in the country. So they advise the Department of Social Development. Where is the substance abuse happening? What is it? Is it alcohol? Is it this drug? Or is it that drug? Right? But they don't control their own budget because they're an entity reporting to the department. Some of their expenses are now being flagged for the last financial year. They spent 7.2 million rand. That's 3 million rand over their budget. This is all in the Citizen this morning. Some of the expenses were something like, there was 70,000 rand for travel agency fees, 343,000 rand for accommodation, almost 900,000 rand for air travel. They spent 1 million on shuttle services, 1 million rand on shuttle services. Now, here's the kicker, Cindy. The CDA go to Parliament and they say, we don't know what this is all about. Our meetings are virtual. We don't travel in. Where did we go? Where? Show us. We've asked the department to show us what this expenditure was based on. We didn't do any of this. So someone back at head office is claiming these guys are doing this. And they're like, when, babes? Where? Where did we go? That's just one example. But Cindy is here with the happiness factor.
Hi everyone! I'm here with the sport.
Tell us what's happening in the
I hope your team
sport.
won last night. Because
Listen,
if your team lost, then this is not going to be happy.
It was a golf fest last night.
It
in
was
the Champions
absolutely
League.
phenomenal. It was Champions League football at its absolute finest, Cindy. There were 4 games. I'm just so excited. There were 23 goals scored.
Wow.
And I watched the Barcelona-Newcastle because that was the earlier game. And it was 2-2 and it was very exciting. And then Barcelona got a penalty 3-2. And then the second half, it just went rampant. And Barca won 7-2. Rafinha got 2 goals. Lewandowski got 2 goals. So Lewandowski's now scored 109 Champions League goals. He's just 20 behind Lionel Messi.
Of course, I'm very, very, very happy of every goals in Champions League. But, it's like if I feel well, if I knew it, that I have confidence, I have opportunity that I can score the goal. That even for me as a striker is very important. That to be in the game, to have the situation, to operate to this goal. Today I know it, okay, keep pushing, trying. And of course, sometimes I know that I have to do the job for the team. But in the end, we are playing as a team.
Barcelona will play Atletico in the quarterfinals. Atletico lost to Spurs 3-2 but advanced on a 7-5 aggregate. Liverpool got a 4-0 win over Galatasaray that included Mo Salah getting his 50th Champions League goal. The Reds will play PSG in the quarterfinals. Bayern Munich cruised to a 4-1 win over Atlanta. They'll play Real Madrid. Back home in the Betway Premiership, Golden Arrows and Stellenbosch finished 1-1. Arrows moving into the top 8. Senegal's government wants an independent internal investigation into corruption after the national team was stripped of their AFCON title and Morocco declared champions. CAF President Patrice Motsepe stressed his support for the right of African countries to make appeals to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, saying African football's governing body would respect the decision which is taken at the highest level. Live Golf starts at Steyn City this morning. Important time change if you're going to watch. The first round shotgun start tee time has been moved earlier. It will now be at 10 a.m. this morning. South Africa is represented by the Southern Guards team that has Brandon Grace, Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen and Dean Burmester. Grace says playing on home turf will give them the advantage.
We did a tour. We tried to toughen it up a little bit with the rough and the thickness and that sort of stuff. You know, we grew up with kikuyu grass. The rest of the field's probably never even seen it the way that we know it. But yeah, it's immaculate. It's awesome condition. Obviously, the weather has not played its part so much, but I think the weather for the week looks good. So the course is just going to get firmer, faster, better.
And in cricket, the One Day Cup game between the Lions remain unbeaten after a 42-run win over Tuskers. They won yesterday on the Duckworth-Lewis method. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
The Brainy Kids of the Whiz Quiz
on 702.
Hello, I am Skylar. I'm 10 and I go to Live and Learn Edgy Group. When I grow up, I want to be a soccer player and I'm really excited to play the Whiz Quiz with Uncle Bongani.
We are looking forward to playing the Whiz Quiz with you. Can you walk away with the 10,000 Rand? Can you score 10 goals?
702.
Coming up at 7:15, the big interview.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 451442 now and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. There's a crash on the N3 North. Amo, is it a horrible one?
Oh, it is indeed, Bongani, because we usually have roadworks taking place along this route. And today you have to deal with extra delays because of this accident scene. It's on the N3 North right near the Geldenhuys interchange. Delays between the Elands and Van Buren Road. So please be on the lookout there and be patient if you're already finding yourself in this backlog. If you're traveling on the N12 West, we've got a bit of a stop and go. This is between the R23 all the way towards the Edenville Road. So please be on the lookout there and drive with care. Otherwise, use the R24 ways towards areas like Bedford View. In Boksburg, we've got roadworks taking place along the N17 East, causing delays between the R21 and Osborne Road. There's also roadworks that are taking place on the N3 North. This is in the Katlehong, Spruitview areas. This is causing delays between Leondale Road and Heidelberg Road. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You know that feeling when the actual weather matches the weather app prediction? Well, that's how good it feels to see the Outsurance pointsman on your route. Just gives everyone peace of mind knowing they're on the roads. They've been easing traffic congestion so we all get to where we need to be quickly and safely for the past 20 years. With Outsurance, you really always get something out. In proud partnership with 702, Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
This March 23rd, join Freedom Park and the National Heritage Council as we commemorate the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale, a defining moment in Southern Africa's journey to freedom. Be a part of a powerful day of reflection on resistance and liberation heritage, featuring a public lecture, a wreath-laying ceremony, and messages of solidarity from African and international partners, honoring courage, unity, and sacrifice. That's at Freedom Park, Pretoria, 23rd March 2026. Be there. Be part of the legacy.
Smart Steve from Momentum. Hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got her license and, oh boy,
boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free for all that and all.
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Join us.
Let's walk the talk.
This is 702.
Morning, Bongani. Chuck Norris, Van Damme, Steven Seagal, Jackie Chan, Dolph Lundgren. Those are my childhood heroes. Walter from Cape Town.
Tonight on ETV, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, and Chuck Norris go head-to-head in the Royal Rumble.
John from Joburg.
John from Joburg. We're talking about those action heroes of yesteryear. It's Bruce Willis's birthday today. Has anyone replaced them? I wonder. I mean, are these guys today as good as they were? Or is it just a different time? Up next, we speak to the chief economist at PSG Financial Services, how the war is going to hurt your pocket.
Who is the whizziest of them all?
It's the Whiz Quiz on 702.
Let's give away some cash, though, in the meantime. Skylar is 10 years old and wants to be a footballer later on in life, goes to the Live and Learn Academy. Skylar, I always ask would-be footballers, who's your favorite at the moment?
Masala, I think.
Mo Salah? Well, he had a good night yesterday, did he not? So you're a Liverpool fan now, you, Skylar?
Yeah.
Ah, all right. Well, let's see if you can be as good as Mo Salah in the Whiz Quiz. KG, start the clock. What is the female form of nephew?
Pass.
Niece. What is 30 minus 20?
10.
Correct. In fairy tales, what is the female of a merman?
Mermaid.
Correct. True or false? Fish use lungs to breathe.
False.
Correct. In the alphabet, which vowel comes between E and O?
I.
Correct. What is the next number after 99?
100.
Correct. True or false? All birds lay eggs and have feathers.
False. True.
It's true. Spell the word ticket.
Cricket.
Correct. Which country has states like Michigan and Rhode Island?
Skip.
It's the United States of America. United States of America. And Skylar, that gives you a really credible 700 Rand. You walk away with 7 correct answers. Remember, it's $100 for each correct answer. Get all 10 correct in 60 seconds. You win 10,000 Rand. And you must be aged 10 to 13 to play.
The brainy kids of the Whiz Quiz.
On 702.
Current events, developing stories,
Tough questions.
your voice making a difference.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa.
Since the United States and Israel's war on Iran began just a few weeks ago, we've made clear on this show this is not just a geopolitical flashpoint somewhere far away in the world. It is going to affect all of us everywhere on this planet. Oil prices, as you would no doubt have heard, are surging, and there are fears about disruptions even here in South Africa. It's an ongoing conversation because, of course, the goalposts of this war keep shifting. So we've invited Johan Els, who is the chief economist at PSG Financial Services. Johan, a very good morning to you and welcome to our program. Thank you for your time today.
Hi, good morning. Absolute pleasure. Thanks.
Right, we've had this conversation with DMR, we've spoken to the AA, and we keep asking the question because we're all being told now that we can certainly expect surges in terms of what fuel will cost at the pump, particularly in the month of April. That's now a certainty, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. We're going to see a significant increase in petrol prices. The calculation is ongoing, but at the moment it looks like it could be anywhere between 5 and 7 Rand per litre. So that is quite significant. And of course that might filter through into other prices as well. So certainly consumers are going to feel the pain of this war in April.
So all the good news in terms of keeping our inflation down, in terms of interest rates, is that all going to be reversed?
Not necessarily. It all depends, and this is the uncertainty on how long this war lasts and if it expands into a broader Middle East war. So crucially, usually this ends fairly quickly, and I think while it's no certainty, there's significant pressure on the U.S. administration internally and externally that to end this relatively quickly. If you think about it, in the U.S., voters, consumers in the U.S. are already paying the higher gasoline prices. Their calculation is on a daily basis, whereas ours has been somewhat delayed by the monthly calculation of the increase. So there's lots of pressure for them to end it pretty quickly. But in terms of your question, certainly the rate cuts that we've been expecting have certainly now been delayed. I think it's far too early to talk about potential rate hikes. I think a big petrol price increase like the one that's upcoming tends to be deflationary. I don't know about you, but most consumers have got limited monthly budgets, so we spend more on transport costs than petrol, and then you have less to spend elsewhere. That tends to be a deflationary impact on other prices. So it's not necessarily a definite that other prices will increase substantially as well. And in past cycles, we've seen quite a quick reversal in oil prices when they've lifted this quickly. Then we see oil prices reverse quite sharply, and thus we could potentially, again, if it's a short-lived war, expect petrol price declines in coming months as well.
I know you're an economist, but perhaps you've got a view on this. Everybody is talking about this conflict ending very quickly and very shortly, but there's no indication that Iran are going to release their chokehold on the Straits of Hormuz, and it would appear to me, at least on my reading, that to get anywhere near that, you would need boots on the ground, getting closer to that chokehold to allow, of course, the flow of oil and other goods that need to get through that narrow point. Without that happening, are we going to get the relief we're all hoping for?
Yes, that's the uncertainty, but there's also the possibility that there's some kind of negotiated settlement between US, Israel, and Iran. So it's not necessarily that we need boots on the ground, but you're right in terms of the expectation that that might be the only way. Just some perspective around that. While that closure of the Strait of Hormuz has lifted prices significantly, only 20% of global oil is flowing through that channel. So certainly it's impacted in terms of what market's perception is regarding the oil price, but other oil is still flowing, and there's potentially lots of oil around. So a settlement pretty quickly could end this and lead to a fairly sharp collapse in oil prices.
When we spoke to DMR, they mentioned the point that a lot of our oil comes from places like Oman, for example, which is not quite affected by that closure. How concerned are you? I saw WhatsApp messages during the rounds yesterday around the possibility of things like diesel shortages in the coming weeks. Is that a concern?
Yeah, certainly it is a concern, especially because South Africa has lost a lot of its refinery capacity, and we import a lot more of final product rather than the crude oil product that's used to be refined in South Africa into the final product. So we import a lot of those, and because the whole pricing system has been impacted, in other words, shipping costs and insurance costs, etc., has led to higher prices. So importing the final product like diesel is becoming a concern. So there's absolutely lots of concerns and risks around this issue.
Why was it ever a good idea for us to lose much of our refining capacity? How did that happen?
Yeah, that's some of the refiners themselves that decided to close the production facilities in South Africa. So government should have provided, in my opinion at least, a lot more incentives for them to keep those refinery capacity open. So perhaps now is the time to think about the policy around that to get more capacity or new capacity than in South Africa.
But at best, that's a long-term strategy, isn't it?
Absolutely. It is a long-term strategy. That won't solve the immediate problems. So for South Africa, the immediate future should hold a short-term conflict in the Middle East, and we can just hope for a quick resolution around that.
And on the longer term, I suppose, tighten your seatbelts, brace yourself, take your metaphor. Johan Els, appreciate your time, Chief Economist at PSG Financial Services.
702.
Coming up, the big interview.
With all the bad news around us, I thought perhaps let's focus on a really, really good news story. When I was hearing about it and how it was unfolding, I was reminded of Dr. Chris Barnard and that historic heart operation. Maybe, I'm not a medical expert, maybe not quite the same degree of complexity, but nonetheless, I think something that should lift all of our spirits. Up next, we speak to Dr. Shifularo. This is Dr. Nyaweleni Shifularo, who was the pediatric surgeon who led the team that successfully separated those conjoined twins at a rural hospital, public hospital in Limpopo.
This is EWN.
A shootout with law enforcement in Benoni leaves suspected criminals dead, and a tender scandal involving the EFF and Action SA is uncovered at the Madlanga Commission. Good morning, I am Sfiso Zulu. We start on the East Rand, where 3 suspected criminals have been shot dead by members of the Hawks in Benoni. The officers received a tip-off that the group was allegedly committing hijackings and kidnappings in the area last night. Hawks spokesperson Katleho Mokhale says the suspects opened fire when approached by the tactical team.
A high-speed chase ensued and the suspects opened fire on police. The suspect's vehicle hit the side barrier into an embankment. In the aftermath, 3 suspects were fatally wounded and the victim rescued with no injuries. 2 firearms and some of the possession belonging to the victim were found in the suspect's vehicle.
The Madlanga Commission has heard that the EFF and Action SA in the city of Tshwane allegedly colluded with senior officials to rig a multi-million rand security tender. Sergeant Faninkosi, an organized crime officer in Gauteng who has been testifying before the commission, has been implicated. Tabiso Koba has more.
In 2024, the Tshwane Metro Police Department advertised a tender looking for security companies to protect municipal infrastructure for a period of 3 years. According to evidence before the Madlanga Commission, TMPD's Deputy Chief Umashi Dlamini drew up a list of 7 preferred companies he allegedly received from the EFF. The list was passed on to Sergeant Faninkosi, who then forwarded it to the municipality's Chief Financial Officer, Gareth Mnisi. On Tuesday, Nkosi testified he was close to the Metro's CFO. Nkosi then sent the CFO 2 of his preferred companies, Ngapesheya, which was owned by his brother, and El Shaddai Security Services. The CFO responded to Nkosi by saying he had been discussing the matter with the EFF and Action SA. The testimony continues today. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says he has enough evidence to get suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya arrested and charged for allegedly colluding with criminals. Mkhwanazi last night concluded his evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's investigating alleged interference in the country's justice system. He also maintains that suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was allegedly captured by those opposed to the political killings task team. Babalondenze has more.
Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, during his evidence last year, accused Shadrack Sibiya of having links to criminal underworld kingpins like Vusimuzi Matlala. But Sibiya denied the claims, saying they were designed to prevent him from becoming the next police commissioner. Last night, committee member Diane Kohler-Barnard asked Mkhwanazi about the evidence against Sibiya.
Are you satisfied that you have sufficient evidence against Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya to have him arrested, charged?
Mkhwanazi says based on the case that he opened against him in KZN, he's confident that the net is closing in on Sibiya.
From what the case I opened in KZN, I'm confident with that. And from what I gather from the team working in Gauteng, there's quite good information that they have already.
On Senzo Mchunu's directive to disband the political killings task team, he called the decision illegal and accused him of defeating the ends of justice. Babalondense, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
And Iran has targeted energy facilities across the Gulf and threatened further destructive attacks after a key gas field was hit. This has raised fears of a wider assault on fuel supplies that could jolt already rattled global markets. The warning came after Israel killed Iran's intelligence chief Ismail Khatib, the latest in a string of strikes that have destroyed its leadership since the war began nearly 3 weeks ago. Tehran, following an Israeli strike on its South Pass gas field, says that it would respond forcefully to any further attacks on its energy sector. Qatar says an Iranian missile strike sparked a fire and caused extensive damage at its main gas facility, prompting Doha to expel 2 Iranian diplomats. Saudi Arabia also says it intercepted drones targeting energy infrastructure in the east with debris from a ballistic missile landed near a refinery south of Riyadh. Saudi's Foreign Affairs Minister Fasil bin Farhan bin Abdullah says there will be consequences for Iran's attack.
The targeting of Riyadh while a number of diplomats are meeting, I cannot see as coincidental. And I think that's the clearest signal of how Iran feels about diplomacy. It doesn't believe in talking to its neighbors. It tries to pressure its neighbors. The kingdom is not going to succumb to pressure. And on the contrary, this pressure will backfire.
Gold is trading at $4,874.23 an ounce. The rand is at 16.96 to the dollar, 22.53 to the pound, 19.46 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $111.04 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got heavy traffic volumes reported in Sharon Lee along several routes like Malibongwe Drive, Jacaranda Avenue, as well as Pendoring Avenue. Please be on the lookout there and continue driving with care.
And in your sport, after last night's Champions League action, the quarterfinals will be Liverpool against PSG, Barcelona got Atletico, Bayern Munich will battle Real Madrid. CAF President Patrice Motsepe welcomed Senegal's decision to go to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And an earlier than scheduled start to today's Live Golf at Steyn City, tee-off time has been moved to 10 a.m.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. Johannesburg is at a low of 14 degrees, peaking at 25. Pretoria 16 and 28. Vereeniging 14 and a high of 26 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: 3 suspected criminals have been shot dead by members of the Hawks in Benoni.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
7 minutes after 7 o'clock. You're listening to 702 Breakfast with me, Bongani Bingwa. It was all happening at the ad hoc committee in Parliament yesterday. Part of what they're investigating, of course, is the alleged infiltration of law enforcement, particularly SAPS, by criminal entities. But perhaps there was a bit of a light moment when the last witness, of course, called by the committee for their public hearings, the person who began all of this, the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, explaining why, having laid charges against the former police minister Bheki Cele, he withdrew them. And it's all to do with a mistake as far as a phone number is concerned. So it was clear from police investigations that supposedly Bheki Cele was in conversations with Kat Matlala. Except, Mkhwanazi admits, it turned out that wasn't Bheki Cele's number. There was a difference of 1 digit in the middle. But at some point, Matlala thought he was talking to Bheki Cele and is exchanging information with some unemployed guy. And eventually they get to the point where this guy gives him his Capitec bank account details. This guy's feeling like Christmas has come early. He shares the money with the girlfriend. Then at some point, Matlala realizes, wait a minute, this is not Bheki Cele. Tries to delete all the messages, but they were all there. The police investigations uncovered them, even though they were deleted. And he'd saved the number as Babandosi, Bheki Cele's clan name. What a story, eh?
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
The High Court in Johannesburg hearing, of course, applications for the retired Constitutional Court judge, Sisi Kampepe. The request, of course, is that she recuses herself. This is an application made by both former presidents, Jacob Zuma and Thabo Mbeki with the current president who appointed Justice Kampepe to sit on the Commission of Inquiry that is going to be looking at what has gone wrong with the TRC report's recommendations on the prosecution of the perpetrators of crimes by the apartheid regime, right? All of those people identified in the TRC as cases that needed prosecutions that haven't been. There's a Commission of Inquiry meant to look at that. Justice Kampepe is meant to chair it. Except former presidents Thabo Mbeki and Jacob Zuma say, hang on, she was a commissioner in that original TRC inquiry. We don't know if she should be the right person to chair this. The president retrospectively says, oh, well, I'm not going to oppose that application then if that's what you guys are saying. And it's just one of those things that we, I think, as a society have to say, hang on a minute. What on earth is going on here? As her lawyers argued in court, she is performing a public duty. Personal attacks are being directed against her. Advocate Mugaitobi, representing Justice Kampepe, says this is being done with reckless abandon. There's absolutely no one to protect her, including the very president who appointed her. She's been left out to dry on her own. We're not talking about somebody who was perhaps a witness or who was a prosecutor and now has to judge the same matter. No, 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 no. How and what kind of message is this sending? This is the same judge whose judgment ultimately led to the imprisonment of Jacob Zuma. So you might see perhaps why he might have an axe to grind. But having appointed her, the president would have been advised of her background, who she is. She's not some random magistrate from a small dorpie. She's a retired constitutional court justice. And she's being treated in this way. We've got to ask ourselves some tough questions as to why.
You're with Bongani Bingwa.
7:02 weekday mornings, 6 to 9 a.m.
Things you need to know at this hour. Well, North Korea reporting that Kim Jong-un's Workers' Party has won 99% of the 2026 parliamentary elections. So that's something to ponder. Finland topping the world's happiness report for the 9th year running. Behind them are countries like Denmark. Even Israel cracks the top 10 at the number 8 spot. I made the quip earlier. Why wouldn't they, since they're winning everything, it would seem? I mean, if you ask the Palestinians that, they might agree with that statement. Is there a celebrity divorce that got you in your feels? That you felt, I don't know, you had a stake in, a relationship that you thought you had a stake in, and then when it ended, you were, it was on this day. I mean, this was the love story of the struggle, was it not? On this day, in 1996, Nelson and Winnie Madikizela Mandela went their separate ways. After 4 decades, a relationship forged, solidified by the struggle, tested by separation, distance, politics, and the might of the apartheid state. It was that fairy tale we all thought would have the happy ending, and it didn't. Right? Didn't you want to see them happy until the end? Was there a relationship that left you thinking, no, not them. Not them, surely. They separated on this day, 1996. Shakira ringtone became a monster hit much later.
7:02. Up next,
The Big Interview.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. Get all-inclusive fares, your seat, your meal, your baggage. It's all in. Book now at flysaa.com. Amo, there are delays in the Sharon Lee area.
That's correct, Bongani. Several roads like Malibongwe Drive, this is between President Fouché and the N1 heavily backed up, Jacaranda Avenue, as well as President Fouché. So please be on the lookout if you're traveling within this area, and then heading towards Four Ways, queuing traffic between Bears-Nadia Drive and the Winnie Mandela Drive exit. That's on the N1 North. I'll have more updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702.
The Big Interview
With Bongani Bingwa.
It always seems impossible until it is done. The wise words there of Nelson Mandela. It was the little hospital in a rural area that could. Just picture the scene, an operating table, 2 tiny little lives, born joined at the abdomen, sharing vital organs, their future depending on steady hands, careful planning, and quiet determination. A medical team in a public hospital in rural Limpopo, led by one doctor, Nyawelenu Shifularo. For hours, surgeons, anesthetists, nurses, specialists working with precise coordination. I was reminded of that historic first heart transplant by Dr. Chris Barnard and his team all those years ago. I'm no medical expert, perhaps, but I think that level of complexity in a rural facility is the good news story we've been needing. I'm pleased to tell you, Dr. Nyaweleni Shifularo joins us now on the line. A very good morning to you, sir, and thank you for your time.
Morning. Thank you, Bongani, to you and the listeners.
Listen, when I read about this, firstly, the birth of these 2 little babies earlier this year, and then when I read about the operation and the success, I thought this is the good news South Africa has been needing, hey?
Absolutely. Good news indeed. We were also impressed that this was picked up in a rural hospital, and the doctor said, no, you've got a problem. Rush to another sort of a referral center in a rural, and then when the baby arrived, the mother arrived, we checked, we said, oh, indeed, these babies are joined, let's deliver them. Within an hour, the babies were delivered.
Tell me about Mankweng Tertiary Hospital and just what kind of facility it is.
So Mankweng, it's we'll call it a tertiary referral center of Limpopo. It's a Mankweng Hospital together with Polokwane Hospital. So these are the sort of the central hospital in the province. They are then attached to the University of Limpopo. And so this is a sort of an academic center in a rural setting.
All right, you're a pediatric surgeon. When you first became aware of the case of these conjoined twins, what was your response as a medical professional?
So for me, fortunately, I've done this before. So when it happened, I said to the team, wow, this is a great news. And then, of course, the supporting team, then they said, no, let's organize a chopper. These babies must leave. So I said, no, this is not going to happen. We are going to do it here in the rural health matter. And that's when we decided that we are going to go through the whole process and do it around here in the rural setting.
Take me through the complexity of the procedure, and you'll correct me when my facts are wrong. I understand these babies were conjoined at the abdomen, sharing vital organs. How complex would it be to separate them, and what risks did that pose?
So this it's a complication that happened when a single egg, so the sower sowed one egg, and that egg started dividing. Unfortunately, the division didn't become complete, so it got arrested along the way, and then we've got these 2 babies that are growing, still stuck together. Fortunately for us, they were not stuck in the heart or the brain, which is very difficult. You cannot divide the brain and the heart. Those are such a vital organs that it's one-to-one. But the fortunate part of our situation is that they were joined at the abdomen where the organs are usually paired. You've got two kidneys, and those things are easy for us to work with them.
All right, so they still shared kidneys?
I will not go into those details. We'll just say they were sharing vital organs of the abdomen.
Is that, I mean, again, I'm a layperson, so you'll guide me here, Dr. Shifalara. I mean, I'm just curious as a layperson, if they were sharing organs, which would those be? And again, it speaks to the complexity of what you had to do.
So is the liver, so they've got one liver, so that one liver we had to divide it and share it with the other. Also, there was part of we call it the containing part of the heart, the cardiac chamber, not involving the heart itself, but the heart was safe, but just the space where the heart stays also connected. We had to divide that, a bit of the intestine, but something like that,
Yeah, something like that. I mean, what was your indication that this was a job well done?
Well, if you divide them and they are alive and everyone now is living their own life, that's a success. And that's what happened. So we did a full mapping of what's happening, the scanners, the CT, the MRI, the sonars, the angiograms. So all this electronic, the equipment we used to then see how are they joined, what are they sharing. Once we had that information, then we said, let's go for it. We asked the province to say, supply us this and this, and then this can be done. They don't have to go to Bongani in the big city. I mean, they can be done this side.
What's the, I mean, looking at, it might be early days, of course, but what would the expected long-term outlook for the children be?
Fortunately, the shared organs that we separate, they do bounce back and become like a full-grown organs. I mean, for an example, the liver that they are getting a piece and piece. Sometime when we do transplant, we take a piece from a parent and we put it on the baby. So that small part does grow to become a full-grown organ. So we are fortunate in that situation that those organs will full grow to be functional like a full-grown organ.
You mentioned the parent or a parent. What conversation do you have with the parents in a situation like this as you try to explain that all will be okay?
Well, this was a very difficult also for the family. You can imagine, because this is a very rare situation. We told them that both babies can die, one can die, and this is a very complicated. It has never been done here, but there is skills available. I've got a team that are up to the task. And for them to be believers and believe that this team are able to help me, it was also very difficult for them. We had to get psychologists, social workers, psychiatrists to really support. You can imagine the pressure on us to say, we'll do this, and we really must deliver, because the family, the community, the health community is also looking and say, you said you'll sort it. Let's see when you sort it. I mean, so they are much relieved that now everything has gone as planned.
The typical story we get about public health facilities is not usually a good one. What do you think the success of your team and obviously everybody who was involved in getting you across the line, what does it say about the potential for public health facilities to be able to really be, to deliver the best of the best?
This is saying we can do it wherever we are. We are specialists. We were trained in these big cities. Even those specialists in the big city, they were trained in public health, not in a private hospital, trained in public health. So we can deliver this in the public. And now the second thing is that these patients, they don't have to travel to go to the big city. Those specialists who are trained, they can come and bring health close to the family where they are. I mean, the wonderful thing with this is that this mother has got a health support system around her, the granny, the cousins, the church, everyone, it's close to her. They don't have to take a long journey to follow them in Gauteng where Bongani is. They are here, surrounded by their family. And it's a testament of what Limpopo is doing with our MEC and the Premier, who said rural health matters. Let's bring the service to the people where they are, rather than congesting the cities where it's already congested.
What was the game changer? I mean, obviously, your medical team may well have been up to the task, as you've proved, but what was the game changer in terms of the additional support you would have required, whether it's equipment, the running of the facility? You've mentioned the MEC and the Premier, who is, of course, a medical doctor herself. What was the game changer in terms of the support systems that enabled you to do this?
I think the game changer here was the change of the mindset. The skill is available. The government, the university are there willing to support us. Now the mindset, now you can imagine people saying, this cannot be done here, it must go to the big city, Makuengi, this. And then I had to deal with that and say, people, you have got skills. You were trained in those big cities. We can do it here. That was a big game changer for the whole project. I mean, I had to cross-sword with other people who were saying, no, this cannot be done. I said, no, you step aside and then allow us to deliver the service.
Taking no nonsense. As I said to you, Dr. Shifularo, at the start of this conversation, this was the good news story South Africa desperately needs. And I'd imagine in other provinces, be it the Eastern Cape or KwaZulu-Natal, people will be saying to themselves, hang on, if Limpopo can do it, so can we. Congratulations to you and the team, and we wish the two babies well and, of course, their family. Pediatric surgeon there leading the team, separating those conjoined twins.
Yippee! A big shout out to all the doctors and his team and to the province. Yeah, I am so in awe. Science, and we thank God for the lives of the little ones and to the mom. Bongani, this is a good news celebration story. I hope the corruptors are listening. What can be done if the money gets placed where it's supposed to be? Well done to the hospital, to the doctors, to the team. We are so proud. Thank you.
Oh, good morning, Bongani. Good morning, team. Good morning to your listeners. Wow, I am overwhelmed. I am happy about the twins. I think as a girl from Limpopo, I am so proud. Our province is on the map for good. I am so proud. I am so proud. Congratulations to everybody who was involved.
EWN Traffic.
The CWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we've got a road closure on Pretoria Main Road. This is between South Road and Fairway Northway Road. This is in the Kelvin area. I will have more details coming up shortly. There's also queuing up traffic on the M1 South between the Bakuta and off and Marlborough Drive. Please be on the lookout. More details coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Want to know how much money OutSurance saves 35-year-old Zanai on her car insurance?
A whopping 1,180 Rand.
That's an incredible 1,180 Rand monthly saving on Zanai's 2017 Mercedes-Benz GLA. And the out bonus you'll get?
It is close to 6,500 Rand in 3 years if I'm claim-free.
Nice. How much money could OutSurance save you? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Licensed insurer in FSP. TCs and information online.
EWN Business.
Mutewa, listen to this one. Chicken rules the roost.
And of course it does, especially in South Africa. South Africans are once again proving that chicken is our favorite protein. Despite economic pressures on households, Astral Foods, South Africa's largest poultry producer, is set to report a massive jump in earnings, up 435%. The company expects headline earnings per share to be up at 21 Rand 88 cents per share for the 6 months ending in March, driven by strong demand for its products. Astral produces brands like Goldie Chicken, Mountain Valley, and Festive.
The US Fed keeping rates flat?
Yeah, the US Central Bank has voted to hold its key interest rates steady as policymakers navigate their way through higher than expected inflation readings, mixed signs for the US labor market, as well as the war's effects on the oil price. In a widely expected decision, the Federal Open Market Committee voted 11-1 to keep rates unchanged. They basically expect prices to go up in the next few months, so they're bracing for impact.
All right, so right now, what does the dollar cost you in rand?
16 Rand 96, closer to that 17 Rand mark. We're definitely receding against the greenback. 19 Rand 46 against the euro, and at 22 Rand 50 cents against the British pound. Price of gold below that $5,000 mark at $4,847 an ounce, while platinum is at $2,039. Brent crude up 2.5% at $111 a barrel. More business after 8.
Time for the latest eyewitness news. Sfiso Zulu, is it the wild, wild east?
That's right, Bongani. On the East Rand, 3 suspected criminals have been shot dead by members of the Hawks in Benoni. The officers received a tip-off that the group was allegedly committing hijackings and kidnappings in the area last night. Hawks spokesperson Katlego Mogale says the suspects opened fire when they were approached by the tactical team.
A high-speed chase ensued and the suspects opened fire on police. The suspect's vehicle hit the side barrier into an embankment. In the aftermath, 3 suspects were fatally wounded and the victim rescued with no injuries. 2 firearms and some of the possession belonging to the victim were found in the suspect's vehicle.
The Gauteng Education Department says it has appointed a law firm to investigate the cause of a learner's death at the Riagile Primary School in Tembisa. 10-year-old Neo Mukhotsane died when a goalpost fell on him while he was playing soccer with his friends. The KRM legal firm says they want to determine who needs to be held accountable for the tragedy. The firm's Katlego Ralukwana.
Whether there are merits to the allegations, the circumstances around the allegations, the conduct of the educators, the school management team, and the principal, whether the matter was reported to the department, the cause of death of the learner, whether any employees of the department failed to observe their legal obligations in relation to the care of the learner, whether the department is liable or not, whether or not there was any omission on the part of the department, and what can the department do to address this problem.
A law firm challenging the appointment of Andy Mutibi as the head of NPA says its application is not an attack on him personally or his extensive legal experience. The High Court in Pretoria has heard arguments from Bikulu and Partners Incorporated seeking to have Mutibi's appointment set aside. The firm argues that Mutibi should have been part of a public interview process conducted by an independent advisory panel that was set up by President Cyril Ramaphosa to select Shamila Batoy's successor. Ramaphosa appointed Mutibi after candidates interviewed during that process last year were unsuccessful. The firm's advocate Ngaba Telezi says Mutibi's appointment was fundamentally flawed.
This application does raise a frontal point about a central issue of constitutional validity of how the President appoints the National Director of Public Prosecutions. The fact that the President opened the process to public scrutiny and subsequently shielded completely. That is a valid point to be brought to the court's attention.
And the city of Cape Town has been hit by water shortages, with households and businesses being urged to use water only for essential purposes. Dam levels have slipped to 50.4%, and city officials say the window to avoid water restrictions is narrowing. The city's Zahid Badruddin says if demand remains high, the city will be forced to introduce water restrictions earlier than November.
Cape Town is in an early drought caution. The water we have now must carry us through winter and possibly into 2027.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers expected. The temperatures are at lows of 14 and 16 degrees, peaking at highs between 25 and 28.
And in the traffic, we've got a road closure in Kelvin along Pretoria Main Road. This is between Northway and South Road. Please try to avoid that route altogether. There's also queuing traffic reported on the M1 South. This is between the Baklu turnoff and Marlborough Drive, and travelling on a Marlborough Drive itself, queuing traffic towards the N3 exit.
The top story this hour: 3 suspected criminals have been shot dead by members of the Hawks in Benoni.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
The automotive sector, I've seen the Chinese brands that have really become quite popular in South Africa. I think the last I checked, multiple manufacturers were exceeding about 1,000 unit sales per month. Have the German companies felt the brunt? Have they been impacted in any way from what you've observed?
Yeah, no, everybody's feeling the pressure. Of course, as a German ambassador, I still love our German brands. I think they are really still top of the range. But truth be told, I mean, the Chinese cars are very good. The thing is, selling cars is one thing. The other thing is producing cars, manufacturing. So how many Chinese cars are manufactured in South Africa? Yeah. None. Yeah. How many German cars are manufactured in South Africa? Quite a significant number.
Andreas Peschke.
Clemens Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Hey, oh, hey, yeah. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. I'm taking my freedom, pulling it off the shelf, putting it on my chain, wearing it round my neck. I'm taking my freedom, putting it in my car, wherever I choose to go. It won't take me far. I'm living my life like it's golden, 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 living my life.
I don't need more. Just those 2. Come on. Come on. It's going to be the most soulful experience of the year. And it's coming to South Africa. An icon of contemporary soul. Jilly from Philly, baby. The 3-time Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter is coming to South. It's her To Whom This May Concern tour that's coming to Gauteng this November. Where are you going to be? What other plans could you possibly have? Make sure you're front and center as she takes full stage with her band. The tour celebrates the release of a critically acclaimed new album, To Whom This May Concern, and it's her first studio album in over a decade, marking a new chapter in a remarkable career. One night only, Saturday, 7 November at Sunbet Arena, Times Square. If you don't get your tickets now, it's a once-in-a-lifetime night of soul with Jill Scott. I'm proud to say, in association with 702. We're going to be there, baby. Are you coming?
These holidays, millions of South Africans dream of a well-earned getaway. The reality, however, can be very different.
I like a jacuzzi without fish.
Accommodation can look great online, but in reality...
This deck gives tetanus, not a tan.
Sadly, they've been flat-fished. That's why City Lodge brings you SOS. Visit saveourstay.co.za for City Lodge hotels nearby and up to 30% off. Getting flat-fished is hard. Check into easy. T's and C's apply.
Let's hear from Dr. Armand, owner of Monument Dental, why it pays to switch to OUTsurance Business Insurance.
It was one call and I was covered immediately. We are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance Business Insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Sometimes all it takes to reshape the world and deliver better outcomes is a little unconventional thinking. Black Sheep Thinking, powered by Camissa Asset Management.
In the 19th century in Europe, particularly around the 1850s, many expectant mothers were dying at terrifying rates from childbirth. Women who went in to deliver babies in hospitals, going in perfectly healthy, would sometimes not survive. Doctors blamed bad air, blamed fate, or sometimes they said it was the fault of the women themselves. And then a doctor, Ignaz Semmelweis, he noticed that maybe one of the things they ought to do is wash their hands. Germ theory did not yet exist, and so many of the doctors did not believe. We look back now, and of course, he was absolutely right, and that's the power of Black Sheep Thinking.
Black Sheep Thinking, every Tuesday on 702 Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa, powered by Camissa Asset Management. Invest different. Camissa Asset Management is a licensed FSP on 702. 702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Morning, Bongs. Azwi from Kailami. Congratulations to Dr. Chifularo and his team. A job well done. Nothing is impossible. If we put our mind to it, it can be done. And this applies to everything in our lives. Just a lesson for this morning. Thank you, Bongani. Azwi from Kailami.
Oh my goodness, Uncle Bongles and team. What I heard Dr. Chifularo say, especially at the end, was Magwala acheche morao salarena bayampambili kapilu zetata. In other words, let the scared ones move aside. We, the brave ones, will move ahead with the mission. Congratulations. And once again, a heartwarming story of help coming from places which are being highly doubted.
It does not get better than this. Well done to the doctors in Limpopo. Can we just, get some good news? Well done, Bongani and the team. This is amazing.
Morning, Bongani. Yesterday when you initially shared the story, just listening to our president even commending a hospital in my province that did such an incredible thing. I don't want to lie to you, I shed a tear. I was so immensely proud. You could swear that I was part of the team, but congratulations to the team at Mangwing. Forward and forward, upwards and upwards from here on out. It has really restored people's confidence in the public hospitals, and it makes me really happy.
Look, it shows you what's possible, right? You know what's great about that story? I was just thinking there was no medical aid involved. There was no authorization code involved. There was no negotiating with the medical aids because it happened in a public facility. But imagine being that mom. The excitement, firstly, that you're expecting twins, then the delivery, and you're told they're conjoined, sharing organs. And then you're told they're going to be separated. One might not make it. Both might not make it. Just think of how heavily such a decision weighs on a mother whose excitement quickly turns into something else as she realizes what these young, delicate souls are faced with just at the start, at the beginning of their lives. And the typical story, of course, is in most cases, it would have been a transfer to a major urban hospital. They would have been, sleeping on those chairs next to the bed. No family, no friends, no support, in a faraway place. And this doctor said, not on my watch. We're going to do it right here in rural Limpopo. She doesn't have to travel. She can stick around with her support base. And we'll do it with no haggling, no negotiating, no pre-authorization, no code. Just how it ought to be. This country still has potential, my friends.
702.
What's the question?
What's the question? Brought to you by Outsurance. Your chance to win up to 3,000 Rand in cash. First, 1,000 Rand for the answer, and then a little later, 2,000 Rand if you can give us the question. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on your car insurance. If you don't, you can ask Outsurance for 500 Rand. Mdu is in 4 ways. Mdu, a very good morning to you. Please, would you give us today's answer?
Morning, Bongani. How are you?
I'm very well, Mdu. I'm very well. Go ahead.
Can't complain. The answer is 1996.
1996. And tell me, Mdu, have you got yourself a quote from Outsurance?
Yes, I do, Mr. Bongani, I do.
Your biscuit, 1,000 Rand is coming your way, Mdu, in 4 ways, saying the answer is 1996. What would the question be? Do you know? Call us now on 011 883 0702.
EWN Sport.
I mean, wow, oh wow. It's getting to the really exciting stages of the Champions League, right? The European Champions League. And what a goal fest it was last night.
Yeah, it takes a while to get there, but when it all comes together, it's really super exciting. So the Champions League last night, Barcelona letting loose in the second half. They cruised past Newcastle 7-2. The sides were level at 2-2 until just before half-time when Barca was awarded a penalty, which Newcastle coach Eddie Howe says definitely changed everything.
First half, I thought we were excellent, albeit probably throughout both halves we didn't defend the key moments well enough. This ultimately cost us. I think the second half we were nowhere near as good as we were as the first, and they deservedly go through. Psychologically, that was a tough one for the lads. Right on half-time, again, last kick of the game, very similar to what happened at the end of the game in the first leg. And then they scored quite quickly after half-time, and psychologically, we didn't seem to recover from that moment.
I think that's so important that he says it was psychological because, as you say, there were 2-2 at that moment. And isn't it a testament to how, when you're in a bad situation, you've got to find that pick-me-up, whatever it is. Because I think when that penalty was awarded, they just crashed.
Well, that's the difference, and this is what you see in the Champions League, right? Between the champions and those first-timers.
It's that pick-me-up moment.
Yeah. Well, Barcelona will play Atletico in the quarterfinals. Tottenham Hotspur beat Atletico 3-2, but were knocked out on aggregate 7-5. Liverpool will play PSG. The Reds got a 4-0 win over Galatasaray, including Mo Salah's 50th Champions League goal, but he did leave the field injured. Bayern Munich will play Real Madrid. Bayern beat Atlanta. In the Betway Premiership, Stellenbosch held Golden Arrows 1-0, but the result moves Arrows into the top 8. Senegal's government wants an independent internal investigation into corruption after the national team was stripped of their AFCON title and Morocco was declared champions. Senegal is going to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. CAF President Patrice Motsepe.
And I'm told that Senegal is going to appeal, which is very important. Every one of the 54 nations in Africa have a right to pursue their appeals and their advance interests, not only at the highest level in Africa, in CAF, but also the highest body, which is the CAS. And we will adhere and respect the decision that's taken at the highest level.
I think one of the important things he said yesterday was how they have asked every zone from the continent to give them the legal experts who make up part of their review panels. And so this wasn't a decision that was taken lightly, nor was it a decision that was taken by decision makers from only one part of the continent. So they've asked for the top legal experts from the different zones to be part of their panels to get to the decisions they make. And I thought that was something that I needed to hear.
Yeah, I saw a great headline that said the longest VAR decision in footballing history. I was like, fair enough.
Didn't I send you a joke yesterday?
Oh, it was hysterical.
It's so funny.
It was a meme, right? It was a little post, and Bongani sends this to me yesterday afternoon. It says, Maradona's goal has been reviewed. It's a handball. Congratulations to England, World Cup champions 1986.
I thought that was funny.
That was hilarious. Live Golf starts at Steyn City today. The tee-off time has been changed to earlier, 10 a.m. South Africa is represented by the Southern Guards team that has Brandon Gray, Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen and Dean Burmester. Schwartzel won the maiden event in London 4 years ago.
I haven't won ever since, and at least we've had some team wins in that period. But, you know, from a Live standpoint, it's been fantastic to be part of it, to see how it's grown, gotten better every year.
And in cricket, the Lions remain unbeaten in the One Day Cup and topped the table after a 42-run win over Tuskers yesterday on the Duckworth-Lewis method. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
We at Monument Dental are very happy with the premium we're paying. I wish I did it sooner.
Outsurance business insurance clients know that it pays to switch. And did you know you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium when you switch? For dentistries, general medical practices, and all other businesses, get a quote today and see why it pays to switch to Outsurance business insurance. Visit outsurance.co.za or call 08600 60,000 today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
This 23rd of March, join Freedom Park and the National Heritage Council commemorating the Battle of Cuito Cuanavale, a defining moment in Southern Africa's journey to freedom. Be a part of a powerful day of reflection on resistance and liberation heritage. So there's going to be a public lecture, a wreath-laying ceremony, and messages of solidarity. It's all about courage, unity, and sacrifice at Freedom Park in Pretoria on the 23rd of March. Be there. Be part of the legacy.
Let's be honest. Africa could be doing way better. But complaining won't change anything. Getting involved will. If you care about Africa's future and want to be part of something that disrupts the status quo, then this is for you. Download the Our Platform app, which focuses on problem solving, global competitiveness, and self-love. Africa is changing the narrative. Don't get left behind. Download Our Platform. Say hello to the new look Africa.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Persia. Pretty tough. That R21 South crash, Amo.
Bongani, it's causing delays in the city of Tshwane right after Nalmepius Drive. Please be on the lookout there. And while you travel in Centurion, we've got heavier traffic volumes on the R55 southbound. Just as you approach Weirder Road, please be on the lookout there, or try to use other routes like the N14 South, especially if you're heading towards areas like Rohiskrel. Traveling on the N1 North, this is now in the Rand Park Ridge towards Four Ways. We expect delays between Bears Nodia Drive and the Winnie Mandela Drive in the Four Ways area. That's due to peak time delays there. There's also peak time pressure piling up along the Malibongwe Drive. This is between President Fouché and the N1, as well as along Jim Fouché Drive. Please be on the lookout there and keep it safe on the roads. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
When your business needs strength, reliability, and serious capability, look no further than the Persia Professional Pickup Range, and it's built tough for South African conditions. The pickups are engineered for fleets, professionals, and the agricultural heroes who keep this country moving. From load capacity to fuel-efficient performance, these pickups work as hard as you do. Whether you're building, delivering, or farming, Persia has a model that's ready for the job. Visit your nearest Persia dealership today and power your business with the confidence of Persia's professional Landtrek. It's pretty, but tough.
702.
What's the question?
For 2,000 Rand in cash, all thanks to Outsurance, please tell me what's the question. If the answer is 1996, let's go to Mike on the line. Mike, what's the question?
Morning, Bongani. I believe the question is, which year did the late Nelson Mandela and the late Winnie Mandela divorce?
Yeah, it was a sad day, hey? It was that fairy tale story we all wanted to have a happy ending. Were you around then, Mike?
Yes. I believe I was 16 years old then.
Oh, my gosh. Mike, 2,000 Rand is coming your way, all thanks to Outsurance and 702.
Thank you, Mike.
I was asking earlier, which couple's breakup affected you? I mean, there was even songs about Nelson Mandela. What does Hugh say here? Right? Bring back Nelson Mandela. I want to see him walking down in Soweto with Winnie Mandela. And so when the fairy tale wasn't happily ever after, we were all affected, weren't we? Is there a celebrity breakup that had you in your feels, as the young people say?
Morning, Bongani. I also personally think that divorce of Nelson and Winnie Mandela was also tragic in a way. I mean, I think the biggest part of what makes it better for me is that why couldn't they just let her keep the First Lady status? You know, after having been with Nelson for all of these years, supported him, raised his kids, the least they could have done was just let her keep the First Lady status. and especially after the financial turmoil and troubles that she went through after the divorce, I think she was really hard done by there.
Yeah, the trouble with divorces is it's really only about the two people, ultimately, right? When you take sides, there's always some little detail you may not be aware of. Whatever the reason, divorces, I think, are sad. Now, without insurance, saving on your car insurance feels like catching your favorite song on the radio just as it starts. Well, 43-year-old Gloria saves an unbelievable 513 Rand on her 2024 Audi Q3. Why don't you get a quote now and see if insurance can't save you money? Because you can ask them for 500 Rand. They'll make it 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free with the same insurer for 3 years. So get savings or cash. SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Gauteng is currently experiencing high water consumption. To avoid water interruptions, residents are urged to use water sparingly to allow equitable supply. Act now, save water. Every drop counts. This message is brought to you by the Department of Water and Sanitation, Rand Water, Gauteng Provincial Government, City of Johannesburg, City of Tshwane, and City of Ekurhuleni.
On the go and your stomach suddenly not keeping up, that burn, bloating, or reflux could be symptoms of an ulcer, hey? And stress can make it feel even worse. Well, Ulcernic offers triple action relief by coating your stomach lining with a protective layer that works for up to 6 hours. No prescription is needed. Choose between suspension tablets or effervescent tablets. Keep an eye on the shelf for Ulcernic's new packaging. So it's a fresh new look on the outside, but the same trusted relief on the inside. Visit the Ulcernic Facebook page for more.
702
702. What's gone viral?
with Kabazela.
All right, time for the world of viral content. Kabazela.
Good morning to you, Bella.
I'm quite certain your parents didn't name you Kabazela. They named you Jonathan. Because what's in a name?
They did. Jonathan Robert Fairbairn is my full name, actually.
JR?
JR, yeah, not like the one in Dallas. He wasn't a nice guy. But yeah, this is an interesting video. And this mother and father have posted a video of, they've got a few kids there, but I'm not going to go through all their names. And basically, each kid jumps out of the room and then walks to the camera and then disappears. And it's basically about who named the child and what the child's name is. And now they're various ages, right? But some of the names of these children are, for example, Trendy, Disney, Sunny, Saily, Truly, and Journey. Now, very, very, very odd names, if you think about it, right? And the point of this video was that somebody had said that, do parents realize sometimes that these kids are going to grow up and be adults and have these kinds of names like Disney and Trendy? Just, I don't know what they were thinking, but that's what the mother named these children. So each to their own, I guess, and whatever reason that you have for naming your children is whatever reason, I suppose. So I wanted to ask our 702 family this morning, in your family, when you had to choose a name for the bundle of joy, how did you come about the name and who chose it? Was it like, did the missus choose it? Did the hubby choose it? Was there history to the name, like maybe ancestors or, a distant relative or whoever it was that you named your child after? How did you come about naming your children? I'd love to hear people's stories about how they picked the name. I mean, there's even books that you can go and look at, popular names from XYZ year and maybe look at that. But let's hear that this morning on picking your child's name.
All right, what went into the decision? Why did you choose that name? And who picked it? Let us know.
EWN Traffic.
Now, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by South African Airways. See just how far you can go with them. Book at flysaa.com now. Amo?
Well, Bongani, we still have got queuing traffic on the N1 North between Beyaznodia Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. There's also queuing traffic on the Malibongwe Drive. This is between Olivenot Avenue and the N1. Peak time delays there. And then in the city of Tshwane, we've still got that accident along the R21 North. It's right near the Flying Saucer turnoff. It's causing delays. There's also an accident scene reported on the N1 North before the Flying Saucer turnoff, causing delays. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. This is what progress sounds like. At South African Airways, we've added more aircraft to the runway, increased our flights from just over 1,000 in 2021 to over 24,000 last year. And we continue to add more destinations and routes. It's steady progress over time. We know there's still work to do, but every day we're building something stronger. An airline that shares the resilience of the country it carries. South African Airways. Book your next flight at flysaa.com today.
702.
702.
Feedback with Baphelile Sambo.
Baphelile Sambo? Do you know what went into the decision to give you the
even
name?
my mom doesn't even know.
Really?
She just said she was in hospital. She woke up and I was named by my grandmother.
Oh.
Yeah, she didn't play part in naming me.
Okay.
But she also gave me a name that she felt like I should have.
What's your other name?
Fortunate.
Right.
Yeah, oh nice.
Right.
Anyway.
Okay, Fortunate.
Okay. On the lighter side, Bongani, I questioned this morning about sharing a surname with someone famous. It clearly struck a nerve because 702 lenders are not just enjoying the mix-up, they are fully leaning into it and milking it. Theo Angry Birds on YouTube is constantly asked if they are related to our governor of the Reserve Bank, Lesetja Kganyago. And honestly, that's a connection that most people wouldn't want to mind claiming. I'm also being asked if I'm related to aviation pioneer Sibongile Sambo. And I won't lie.
Utla Fortunate.
I've been tempted to say yes. I mean, who wouldn't want to be associated to that trailblazing spirit that is Sibongile Sambo? And then on celebrity relationship that really hit home, Hector on WhatsApp says that the split between Black Coffee and Entlem Lotwa was that one for him. He says that it made him question even whether marriage was still on the cards for him.
All right. Which celebrity or famous couple split had you in your feelings? Was it Charles and Diana, Nelson and Winnie? And I'll tell you more about children and the choices we make as parents to give them the names we do. Thank you very much. Baphelile, we are very, very lucky to have you. We are fortunate.
This is EWN.
Ramaphosa distances himself from Kunu's decision to disband the PKTT, and the ANC in Joburg gets slammed for trying to remove Dada Morero as mayor. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. President Cyril Ramaphosa has thrown Minister Senzo Mchunu under the bus in his submission to Parliament, denying that he supported his decision to disband the political killings task team immediately. Ramaphosa says he told Mchunu during a meeting in February last year that the directive to disband the PKTT was a decision for National Commissioner Fani Masimula to make because this was within his powers. The president was responding to written questions from members of the ad hoc committee that have been investigating allegations of police corruption. Babalo Ndenza reports.
President Ramaphosa states in his affidavit that he was dissatisfied with the Minister on Special Leave Senzo Mchunu's decision to disband the political killings task team without informing him. Mchunu had testified before the committee last year that he informed Ramaphosa about the decision and the president agreed with him. But Ramaphosa says he met with Mchunu in February where he conveyed his dissatisfaction at not having been consulted prior to this decision being taken. He says he informed Mchunu that he wanted to be kept abreast of any further decisions that would impact the work being done in relation to political killings. Ramaphosa states that he would not ordinarily take part in administrative steps to establish the PKTT, but he was never informed of any illegality during his tenure. He says he only came to know of Mchunu's views about the PKTT only when he appeared before the ad hoc committee and the Madlanga Commission. Babalo Ndenza, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The Madlanga Commission has heard that the EFF and Action SA in the city of Tshwane allegedly colluded with senior officials to rig a multi-million rand security tender. Sergeant Faninkosi, an organized SAPS crime officer in Gauteng who has been testifying before the commission, has been implicated. Tabiso Koba reports.
In 2024, the Tshwane Metro Police Department advertised a tender looking for security companies to protect municipal infrastructure for a period of 3 years. According to evidence before the Madlanga Commission, TMPD's Deputy Chief Umashi Dlamini drew up a list of 7 preferred companies he allegedly received from the EFF. The list was passed on to Sergeant Faninkosi, who then forwarded it to the municipality's Chief Financial Officer, Gareth Mnisi. On Tuesday, Nkosi testified he was close to the Metro's CFO. Nkosi then sent the CFO 2 of his preferred companies, Ngapesheya, which was owned by his brother, and El Shaddai Security Services. The CFO responded to Nkosi by saying he had been discussing the matter with the EFF and Action SA. The testimony continues today. Tabiso Koba, Eyewitness News.
ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula has hit out at the party's Regional Executive Committee in Joburg for removing Dada Morero as mayor. Mbalula yesterday clarified that Morero will stay on as the city's #1 resident. He slammed the committee for overstepping its authority by attempting to recall Morero. Alfara Mushwana reports.
The authority to appoint a mayoral candidate in a metropolitan municipality no longer rests with the ANC's regional structures, but now falls under the party's national leadership. The party says this means only national leaders have the power to recall a metro mayor, and regional structures can no longer make recommendations for their removal. It is on this basis that ANC Secretary General Fikile Mbalula says Dada Morero will remain in his position.
There's no mayor that is going to be removed by the region. Let me tell you that, and I'm going to meet them, the region. We don't discuss that. The NWC is clear that what the comrades in Joburg have done, it shouldn't be done. We face challenges from time to time, but it's our structures, we'll talk to them.
Mbalula is known as a staunch Morero ally and has multiple times sworn allegiance to the mayor of the City of Gold. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News.
And US President Donald Trump has threatened to destroy Iran's key South Pars gas field if there are further attacks against Qatar's main gas plant. Trump confirmed on his Truth Social platform that Israel struck the field, but says the United States knew nothing of the attack, which sparked Iran to launch an attack on Qatar's Ras Laffan facility. Qatar says an Iranian missile strike caused extensive damage at its main gas facility, prompting Doha to expel 2 Iranian diplomats. Saudi Arabia has also said that it intercepted drones targeting energy infrastructure in the east, while debris from a ballistic missile landed near a refinery south of Riyadh. Saudi Foreign Affairs Minister Faisal bin Farhan bin Abdullah says there will be consequences for Iran's attack.
But what I care about now is that the attacks on my country and on my neighboring countries that are not involved in this conflict end. That's all I'm interested in. And we're going to use every lever we have, political, economic, diplomatic, and elsewise, to get these attacks to stop.
Gold is trading at $4,838.24 an ounce. The rand is at $16.99 to the dollar, $22.54 to the pound, $19.49 to the euro. Brent crude oil is at $111.74 a barrel.
And in the traffic, we've got delays on the N1 North approaching the Flying Saucer turnoff. There's also queuing traffic now on the N14 North leaving the Braakfontein interchange. Then in Centurion, that backlog on the R55 southbound is being caused by an accident right near Weirder Road. Please try to avoid that one.
And in sport, Liv Golf tees off earlier than scheduled today. Shotgun start at Steyn City will now be 10:05. Champions League quarterfinals finalised. Liverpool will play PSG. Bayern Munich got Real Madrid, and Barca will battle Atletico. And CAF President Patrice Motsepe defends the decision to strip Senegal of their AFCON title.
A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 28 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: President Cyril Ramaphosa has thrown Minister Senzo Mchunu under the bus in his submission to Parliament, denying that he supported his decision to disband the political killings task team immediately.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Eight minutes after 8 o'clock, you're listening to 702 Breakfast. My name indeed is Bongani Bingwa, and it's a great pleasure to have you on our show. A little earlier on, we spoke about the impact of the Israeli-US war against Iran. That chokehold on the Strait of Hormuz remains in a tight grip by the Iranians. Many experts say to let it go will require ground troops, the very thing Donald Trump does not want. So, will there be a conversation around walking away? And what would that have achieved? The same Donald Trump who told us a year ago, of course, that they had completely obliterated Iran's nuclear capabilities is the same one who says they're attacking now because Iran was within weeks of a nuclear weapon. I played this earlier, and I think it's worth repeating. This is from a Senate hearing in the US Congress, where a Democratic senator is pressing the Director of National Intelligence. So his name is Senator John Ossoff, pressing the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. On which is it? Either you obliterated their nuclear capabilities, therefore the reason for this attack doesn't make sense, or you were lying to us. And you didn't obliterate their nuclear capabilities, and so this decision makes sense. What was the intelligence community's assessment? Listen to how she tries to dodge the question in this Senate hearing. It really is quite a remarkable moment. So the first part, he presses her on what they said last year, and then he presses her on what they're saying now. Listen to the difference in her answers.
It's a really important exchange. It lasts just a couple of minutes. Have a listen.
So the assessment of the intelligence community is that Iran's nuclear enrichment program was obliterated by last summer's airstrikes.
Yes.
In the opening statement you submitted to the committee last night also stated, quote, there has been no effort since then to try to rebuild their enrichment capability, end quote, correct?
That's right.
And that's the assessment of the intelligence community.
Yes.
The White House stated on March 1st of this year that this war was launched and was, quote, a military campaign to eliminate the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, end quote. That's a statement from the White House. Quote, the imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime. Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide threats hearing where you present to Congress national intelligence, timely, objective, and independent of political considerations.
And on it goes, where she just completely refuses to answer the question. It really is quite unbelievable. And here we are, Muteo. We're all about to pay the price.
You know how we spoke about central bank chiefs and how they are honest? Yesterday, the central bank chief, Jerome Powell, announcing interest rates in the US, keeping them unchanged. Usually they do that if they don't know what's about to happen. He was asked the question, the oil price, we see it rising. What do you think is going to happen? He's like, look, I don't know. Because the principals are not really telling us what's about to happen. So we're keeping things unchanged. It just tells you just how much nobody knows really what's happening in Washington.
That's why we're going to focus on the good news story this week, the separation of those twins in a public hospital. I said, Muteo, there was no pre-authorization code required from a medical aid. There was no negotiations. This happened at a public hospital. Isn't that a good news story? Shadi, you're in Sandton. You agree it's a good news story?
Oh my goodness, Bongo, that's my village hospital. I'm so happy for the news. I can't even contain myself. I was listening to it and I'm thinking, my goodness, such a commitment, competency, teamwork, Professor Chifilaro and the team. And I really just wanted to jump. Muteo can maybe interpret for me. Limpopo, you put us on the map. Thank you so much, all the team, man. Shadia, thank you so much. I'm really excited. Life has been restored. Thank you, guys.
Shadi, before you go, you say that's your village. I mean, can you describe the facility for us? What does it look like? Is it, is it a big facility? As somebody from that area, from that village, can you describe it for us?
That's actually
Mangweng
the one.
Hospital?
That's the only hospital around that area that we go to. It's a big facility, but Bongani, we know that most people, when it comes to public hospitals, the mentality we have, and it's not everyone who's giving the service like Professor Chifilaro does. So we still have to change some of the mentalities. However, that is a great facility. We just need to have, people that are there for the community.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Appreciate that call,
definitely.
Shadi, calling us from Sandton. This operation happened at Mangweng Hospital in Limpopo. I shared my family story earlier in the week. That car accident, one of the stories that came out, because they were driving on their way to the Eastern Cape. We're going to a funeral, pothole, burst tire, car rolls over, 2 deceased in the vehicle, a child, 12-year-old, fighting for her life at a public hospital in Bloemfontein. And the family has had nothing but rave reviews. One of the aunts saying that you would have thought this is a private hospital, the way the nurses were caring and giving information and really just responding to all the queries. This is Pelanomi in Bloemfontein. So these stories are there. Sipho, you're calling us from Mangweng?
I'm calling you from Mangweng, and I live around the village here, just next to the hospital.
No way!
And I also work in the hospital. How lucky.
Tell us more, Sipho. I want to know everything. Tell us everything about Mangweng. And particularly, of course, do you know Dr. Chifularo and the team?
I work with Professor Chifularo, and he's one of the most humble individuals you've ever worked with. And a little birdie told me a few years ago that he was the first surgeon, black one. But it is the level of expertise that he has. And the way he was saying that there were naysayers and all of that, I'm going to assure you that he disarms them in the softest voice. It's just him. I know that everyone is going rural. Just to give a bit of a background.
Yeah.
I worked in Europe. I worked in Ireland in one of the top hospitals where transplants were done and all of that.
Yeah.
And when I came to Mangweng, the complexities of operations done there, I don't think that our hospitals are given enough adoration, the complexities. And when it comes to us, the facilities, we don't have the resources as much as the Europeans would have.
Yeah.
But the skills are there. That team that was chosen, top class team, they can work everywhere. And I know they do work everywhere and all of that. But I think when you have that can-do attitude that Prof. Chifularo has, and the Premier is very supportive of everything health, and you have we get support from top management. We have an able CEO who feels that everything possible will be done in Mangweng Hospital. And to be honest with you, there are times that I stand back as if I'm an outsider. But when you watch them working, even when they come into the unit to see patients and all of that, Prof. Chifularo, he treats those kids as if they are his own. The kids that he operates and all of that. He's a peds surgery titan, as I wrote in my.
Sipho, what do you do there at Mangweng, if I may ask?
I am an ICU nurse, but in the main ICU, it's adult and peds ICU. Yeah. So
listen, do us a favor, Sipho. Please spread the word, and I think I'm comfortable and confident to speak on behalf of all of 702 Land. Give them our well wishes, our congratulations, and tell them they've made our week. This is the story I think all South Africa needed. Hey.
it's a story of the week, and I think for us it's going to be the story of the year. You know,
of the decade, man. Hey,
we have started very, very well.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing. You know, we all have these feel good hormones just from that.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you know, honestly, it's just, you know, he is an amazing, amazing man, great leader, and all of that. You know, I feel like I normally am very talkative, but I feel like I'm not always. No, I'm
no, not at all. We don't have that impression at all. Appreciate the call, Sipho, calling us from Mankweng. I mean, it's just that good news story we needed to hear, and to hear from people who know Professor, I should get my titles right, Mateo, Professor Chifularo, who led that team.
Let's talk. We're listening.
Good morning, Bongani and team. So when I was naming my son, I was so in love with my husband. So I named him exact first name, second name, after my husband, because I was really so in love. And my thinking was that we need more people like Gabriel. So I named him after my husband. And needless to say, he's just like his dad. Beautiful, stunning, and has got such a loving and caring nature. Chantal from Alberton.
Hi, Bongani and team. Speaking of what came into mind when naming a child, so this is a story that my late mom shared with me. May her sweet soul rest in peace. So basically, she was in varsity, 1991, writing her final exam. It was around about November, and she just instantly started having contractions. And a couple of days before that, she was in a choir, a unit. And they sang something around the lines of Ikamva. And then she just decided to name me Ikamvelihle. I really hope I'm fulfilling that Ikamvelihle, which means the bright, beautiful future. By the way, great show. Have a good day.
Join the show from Lagos, Nigeria. This is Adekunle. I wanted to name my daughter Clara. Her mom wanted to name her Valentina. I wanted to name her Clara. Her mom wanted to name her Valentina. We couldn't agree. So we combined both names as her first name. So my daughter's first name is Clara Valentina. Then comes the middle name and the surname. So Clara Valentina is just one name, and that is the first name, and no hyphen and no abbreviation. Thanks, Bongani. Great show.
Good morning, 702. I had a child. My firstborn child was born in 1995. That would be my parents' first grandchild. I named her. I went and got the birth certificate, naming her beautiful African names. My mom wouldn't have it. She took me back to the Home Office and renamed my child because she felt like she had a right to name because that was her first grandchild. And she named my child, you won't believe it, Anastasia. Imagine Anastasia. She hates it. I hate it. Just waiting for mom to go so that we can change it back to original name Vuyelwa.
Good morning, Bongs and everyone. It's Impure here from Boksburg. Bongs, you know these things of parents giving kids weird names. I coached at Boksburg at the juniors in soccer for almost 10 years. And one of these kids that had just arrived at the club, Ikamalake, the name was Stando. Stando, imagine. And now the new teammates, whenever actually we are doing training drills and stuff, the teammates would go, hey, sweetheart, pass, sweetheart, lovey, pass. I know.
I can't. I can't. So from they're waiting for Gogo to die.
That
to
is
change.
cold,
Yes,
man. That is cold.
You better hope, because I can't imagine there are too many Gogos who name their grandchildren Anastasia. You better hope this doesn't get back to her. If nothing else. Now, Standwa, And this is the difficulty, right, of translating names from different languages, because Standwa it's a term of endearment. It's like darling or sweetheart. And it works in Nguni, right?
Not
You
so
can
much
call
a
yourself,
soccer pitch.
I can see you could call a child Standwa.
Standwa, yeah.
Pasa, sweetheart. Amo, let's go to the traffic, sweetheart.
EWN Traffic.
This is EWN Traffic brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now. You could save on your car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Yeah, ne?
Yeah, well, we've got delays, Bongani, on the N1 North. This is between Bayasnodia Drive and Winnie Mandela Drive. Please be on the lookout there. An accident has been reported between these 2 points, so please drive with care and expect about a 20-minute hold up there. Traveling in the city of Tshwane, we've got delays on the N14 North approaching Euphus Road. This is as you come out of Littleton Road. There's also queuing traffic in Centurion on the R55. This is as you approach Weirder Road due to an earlier accident. More updates coming up. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a shift worker making his way home and daydreaming about his next career move, his next chapter. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's a possible light bulb moment that could change someone's life. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
702.
The Worldview.
Let's catch up with news from elsewhere in the world. Vicky Turner joining us this morning. Vicky, a very good morning to you. We'll start in the UK. This is a really worrying one about this outbreak of meningitis. What's the latest?
Yeah, meningitis B. There's been 20 cases in Kent in the UK in a single weekend, which is very unusual. I do appreciate that outbreaks of meningitis happen much more regularly across the world, but in the UK, it's all but gone, really. We have single cases here and there, but to have 20 cases in a single weekend is extraordinary. It started at a nightclub in Kent, and it now has crossed the channel over into France because the university students at the University of Kent, one of them lived in France, went home to see their parents and took meningitis B with them. So it is becoming a bit of an international thing now. Loads of doses of antibiotics are being administered. They're trying to contain this. They're also doing jabs, making sure that people are vaccinated against meningitis B, although, of course, a vaccination takes a couple of weeks to work. Now, it is different to previous outbreaks in the UK. Just to give you some small example, in the 1980s, there was an outbreak of meningitis. We had 65 cases over 4.5 years. And like I said, we had 20 cases, 2 deaths in a single weekend this time around. It is massive. In sub-Saharan Africa, of course, there are regular outbreaks of meningitis, and they put that down to dust, heat, and low humidity. And weirdly, that is giving the scientists here something to look at and maybe say, well, this could be the problem. And they think that vaping is the problem. Young people sharing vapes. Now, vapes are known to destroy the back of your throat, basically. They can irritate the back of your throat. We all carry meningitis in our nose. I think when you're an older adult, something like 10% of us carry it. When you're a younger adult, 25% of us do. So just by vaping, these younger adults are actually irritating the back of their throats, and it's making this viral outbreak just expand quicker than they've ever seen.
Goodness me. I mean, if you want to talk about the unlikeliest of sources, vaping would certainly be it. Now, Vicky, what's in a name?
Well, there you go. I mean, who would you vote for? Hitler or Zelensky? That's what a small French town is being asked to do. They've gone viral simply because they've got a mayoral election happening, and they've got on one side a guy called Charles Hitler, on the other Anton Renaud Zelensky. So as I say, it's Hitler up against Zelensky. Now, Charles Hitler has sort of faced criticism about why he hasn't changed his name. It is spelt slightly different to Adolf Hitler's surname, but he says, it's an old French name. When they sort of touch with the border of Germany, that's where it comes from, and he's proud of it. He's kept it in his family. His family are keeping his name, and he said what he believes in is once you get to know the person, you know that Hitler isn't such a bad name to have. But we'll see. He has got problems with his campaign because every poster he puts up, someone draws a moustache on it. But yeah, Hitler up against Zelensky. Who would have thought that?
Goodness me, in 2026, all kinds of things happen. Vicky Turner with this morning's Worldview.
EWN Business.
All right, let's cement the business news with this final update from Mateo Paripe. As you roll your eyes, Mateo?
Yes, cement producer PPC says its recovery plan is producing sturdy earnings with stronger revenue, improved profitability and solid cash generation over the past 10 months. Growth was mainly driven by its Zimbabwe unit, while South Africa and Botswana remained stable. In Zimbabwe, demand remained strong across both industrial and retail markets, boosting sales and cash generation. The company continues to invest in its new Western Cape plant, a key long-term project expected to improve competitiveness and returns once completed.
Chicken cementing its place on our list of protein choices. It rules the roost.
Yeah, I think it's in most grocery lists in South Africa. That is our favorite protein. Despite economic pressures on households, Astral Foods, South Africa's largest poultry producer, says that it's reporting massive jumps in earnings, up to 435%. It expects headline earnings per share to be up at 21 Rand 88 cents per share for the 6 months ending in March, driven by strong demand for its products. Astral produces brands like Goldie Chicken, Mountain Valley and Festive.
Your indicators.
Well, the JSE was really bloodshed yesterday. The all share down 3,543 points. Industrials were down 3%. Banking stocks down 1%, with mining shares pulling down the JSE down 5.5%. The Rand at this hour just 1 cent away from being 17 Rand against the dollar, 16 Rand 99 against the US dollar, 19 Rand 47 against the euro, and 22 Rand 53 cents against the British pound. Price of gold also lower than that $5,000 mark at $4,833 an ounce, while platinum is at $2,006 an ounce. Brent crude now at $113 a barrel. It's up 3.5% and going up this morning. Really should be troubling come April for those diesel and petrol prices. More business from Stephen Grotes later this afternoon.
Exactly 8:30, time for the latest eyewitness news. And of course, Vusumuzi Cat Matala is a name I think all South Africans have heard at least once or twice in the last few months. Sfisa Zulu, what's the latest?
Indeed, Bongani, good morning. Well, his attorney that's representing the alleged crime boss says they will apply for a trial within a trial to challenge the legality of the seizure of his electronic devices, as well as statements that were made by Matlala after his arrest. Matlala's lawyers allege that the recordings obtained from the devices have been used by the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, where Matlala has been a key figure. Dimakatso Leshoro reports.
The main trial set to start later in the year is expected to last for 25 days. However, the case will return to the High Court in May for possible applications to compel disclosure of information. Matlala, his wife Tsakane, and alleged hitmen Floyd Mabusela and Musa Kekana, as well as Kekane's daughter Ntabiseng Nzama, face 25 charges ranging from attempted murder, defeating the ends of justice, and money laundering, linked to 3 separate cases. Advocate Annalyn van der Heever claims information was deleted from the devices.
Andrea Johnson, the head of IDA, gave evidence at the Portfolio Committee in Cape Town about the seizure. She stated under oath that her expert, when he was downloading it, complained that there were information that were deleted from the phone. So
Matlala's electronic devices have been a central point of contention at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, as they allegedly contain evidence of corrupt relationships between him, SAPS officials and politicians. Dimakatso Leshoro, Eyewitness News.
The KwaZulu-Natal government has called for constructive dialogue in ensuring that the Ingonyama Trust's objectives are preserved following the dissolution of its board. Land Reform and Rural Development Minister Mzwanele Nyonso appointed his administrator to oversee day-to-day operations of the trust to maintain administrative stability. The minister dissolved the board after the resignation of 2 of its 5 members. The board has been faced with legal challenges, governance issues, and allegations of maladministration. The board is responsible for administering close to 3 million hectares of KZN land, which generates millions of rands through leases. Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli spokesperson Lindelani Mbata says King Msuzulu Kazwelithini was consulted before the board was dissolved.
Premier Ntuli calls for calm and constructive engagement during this period of transition and reaffirms the importance of cooperative governance, addressing matters of land development and traditional leadership with the sensitivity and respect they deserve.
The Gauteng Education Department has appointed a law firm to investigate the cause of a learner's death at the Riachile Primary School in Tembisa. 10-year-old Neo Mukhatsane died when a goalpost fell on him while he was playing soccer with his friends. The KRM legal firm says they want to determine who must be held accountable for the tragedy. The firm's Katleho Ralikwabana.
Whether there are merits to the allegations, the circumstances around the allegations, the conduct of the educators, the school management team and the principal, whether the matter was reported to the department, the cause of death of the learner, whether any employees of the department failed to observe their legal obligations in relation to the care of the learner, whether the department is liable or not, whether or not there was any omission on the part of the department, and what can the department do to address this problem.
And a tragic incident in India has raised fresh concerns about electric vehicle safety. 8 people, including 2 children, have died after an electric vehicle exploded while charging at home in Indore. Authorities say the fire broke out in early hours of the morning and spread rapidly throughout the house. The situation worsened when gas cylinders inside the home began to explode. Emergency responders also faced challenges getting inside, with reports that electronic locks failed during the fire, trapping the victims. Investigators suspect a short circuit may have triggered the blast, but a full investigation is now under investigation. A partly cloudy day in store for Gauteng with showers and thunder showers expected. The temperatures will peak at highs between 25 and 28.
And in the traffic, we still have got delays in the Centurion area. This is along the R55 South, just as you approach Weida Road. There's also queuing traffic on the N14 North towards Littleton Road, while traveling in Alexandra. Queuing traffic, in fact, heavy traffic volumes along London Road towards the N3, as well as the N3 North towards Marlborough Drive.
The top story this hour, Vusmuziket Matlala's lawyers say they will apply for a trial within a trial to challenge the legality of the seizure of his electronic devices.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
On the Midday Report, every day from 12 to 1 p.m, we will bring you breaking news from the scene as it unfolds with newsmakers, reporters, commentators, experts and analysts. We'll explain the stories of the day, give you context for why they are important and what they mean for you. It is everything you need to know in 1 hour. From news to global events, business, sports, science, books and always some good news too. Appointment listening every day at 12 with the Midday Report.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
Why argue with your teenage know-it-all when you can feel more in control? Get the Haval H6 from only $6,299 per month with intelligent voice command technology that does not backchat. Perfect. Visit gwm.co.za for T's and C's and to book a test drive. GWM, go with more. Brought to you by GWM Finance, a division of Westbank, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
Whether it is a CCMA referral, problems with a mechanic, unfair blacklisting, or an uncontested divorce, Clientele Legal offers professional legal services to all South Africans. Our plans are affordable, and you receive up to 745,000 Rand worth of legal services per year. We cover civil, criminal, and labor-related matters. Our nationwide legal teams are standing by to support you 24 hours a day. Plus, all plans include a 5,000 Rand bail benefit. Join today. SMS LEGAL to 48721. That's legal to 48721. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
You hear that? That's the sound of business execution finally visible. No more chasing people and reports, no more disconnected systems, no more guessing if our business is performing or not. iStratGo connects strategy, people, performance, and day-to-day work into one clear software platform, so leaders can see what's working, what's not, and where to focus. Because when execution is visible, everything runs better. Book a demo on istratgo.com. istratgo.com.
Respiratory syncytial virus, or RSV, is a common virus that affects the airwaves and lungs, especially in babies and children. To find out more and learn about how you can keep your little ones safe, today on 7:02 Afternoons with Relebohile Mabotja, the conversation is going to be all about this. Pharmaceutical company Sanofi coming into the studio, keeping the health of your kids top of mind. They'll delve into symptoms, preventions, and awareness around RSV. Tune in to 7:02 in conversation with Sanofi, together against RSV.
702.
WhatsApp Bongani on 072
702 1702.
Good morning, Bongani and team. Hope you're good. A celebrity marriage that really got me in my feelings was Black Coffee and Entle. The whole judgment, divorce, and everything that happened. Yeah, I'm not a millionaire yet, but I really felt like what really is the benefit of a man getting married in today's world other than losing most of what you've worked hard for your entire life? That really hit me hard. Really made me think about, is marriage really, really, really necessary in today's world? Hector and Midrand.
Good morning, Bongani. I'm still recovering from the Kolisi's divorce. I have not made peace with it. I'm still praying that one day they might reunite. It's the Kolisi's divorce for me. Thank you. Bye.
Good morning, Bongani. So a celebrity couple that had me in my feels with their divorce was Shante Moore and Kenny Lattimore. I mean, more Lattimore. It was just meant to be. And they brought us, remember the song, When I Said I Do, I meant that I will, till the end of all time. And then the end of all time, what happened to that?
Yeah, we're talking about those celebrity or public couples, right? Couples in public life whose divorces or look, no divorce is ever pleasant. So let's just be clear on that, right? I don't care who you are. I don't care what the circumstances, and especially for the couple involved. Sia and Rachel Kolisi, I think that's a tough one for a lot of people, particularly because that whole story was built around being role models and setting a particular example and working through difficulty and adversity and beating the odds. So that breakup was a sad one. We're talking about this, of course, because Nelson and Winnie went their separate ways in 1996 on this day. Cindy, I'd be sore if Victoria and David Beckham
Would you?
split. Yeah, I would.
I mean, it would be scandalous and we'd all want to know why for a while, but
I almost wouldn't care about the reasons. I think it's what it represents when that kind of thing happens. Because you feel like you've been on this journey with them.
they've taken you on the
right?
journey.
Because there was the Spice Girl, the football hero. I mean, it was just, aww.
Yeah, Brand Beckham.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think for me, it's always funny when a high-profile couple splits up. And at the time, you're like, oh, that's terrible. And then afterwards, you hear all the stories. And you're like, yeah. So like for me, it was Brad and Jennifer Aniston. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. And afterwards, you go like, oh, no, that was such an amazing couple. But afterwards, when you hear that like Brad Pitt actually had a whole lot of personal issues with various things, as Angelina has told us, you suddenly go, ooh.
Right?
But still, I thought Brad and Jen at the time were.
Yeah, I was Team Jen.
We all were.
Yeah. But I like
Show
Angelina.
me one person who went Team Angelina and I'll tell you who you are.
Yeah, I suppose if you look at it like that, right? Shame, man.
EWN Sport.
All right, let's talk about golf. What's happening today at Stain City?
Well, speaking of golf couples and marriages, remember when Tiger Woods got hit by his ex-wife with a golf club and then she chased him off? Remember that, guys?
He never recovered, hey?
He
never you can link that moment to the decline of his career.
But this is it, because golf, tennis, all individual sports are completely psychological. We were talking about this earlier, about Barcelona having the psychology, blah, 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 and Newcastle not having it in terms of the penalty. And that's just the beauty of sport. You can tell where a person is mentally by how they perform on the day.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Live Golf starts today at Steyn City. Important to note, if you are going today, that the tee time has been moved to 10:05. It's an earlier start. South Africa's team, the Southern Guards, has Brandon Gray, Charles Schwartzel, Louis Oosthuizen and Dean Burmester. Grace is hoping the home ground advantage will be in their favour.
We did a tour. We tried to toughen it up a little bit with the rough and the thickness and that sort of stuff. You know, we grew up with kikuyu grass. The rest of the field's probably never even seen it the way that we know it. But yeah, it's immaculate. It's awesome condition. Obviously, the weather has not played its part so much, but I think the weather for the week looks good. So the course is just going to get firmer, faster, better.
Champions League quarterfinals were finalised after last night's result. Liverpool will play PSG after the Reds beat Galatasaray 4-0. Barcelona plays Atletico. Barca hammered Newcastle 7-2, while Atletico lost Tottenham Hotspur but advanced in a 7-5 aggregate. Bayern Munich will play Real Madrid. In the Betway Premiership, Golden Arrows into the top 8. This is after last night's 1-1 draw with Stellenbosch. CAF President Patrice Motsepe has defended the decision to strip Senegal of their AFCON title and declare Morocco as champions. Motsepe acknowledged that CAF was still plagued with trust issues from the past. The ruling from the body's appeal board raised questions over its integrity and credibility.
We have very high standards that we set for ourselves. It is important for us that ordinary football supporters and spectators in every one of the 54 countries in Africa regard the decisions of our judicial bodies as fair, with integrity and impartiality. And what is equally important, and those decisions that are taken reflects the impartiality and independence that's critically important.
Senegal's government wants an independent internal investigation into corruption. Is going to the Court of Arbitration for Sport. And in one-day Cup cricket today, the Dragons are hosting the Warriors. Yesterday, the Lions beat Tuskers by 42 runs. The DLS method to remain unbeaten and top of the table. Cindy Paluta, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Catch up with the roads, wrap up the morning's traffic. Amma, what are you seeing?
Well, Bongani, it's quite busy in the Alexandra as well as Lindro Park areas this morning. We've got queuing traffic along the N3 North between Morafontein Road and Vincent Chabalala Road. London Road is also backed up as a result. If you are travelling on the N3 South, we've got delays towards Marlborough Drive as well. Please be on the lookout there. Heading towards Fourways, an accident on the N1 South right up the Rivonia Road. It's causing delays. There's also queuing traffic reported along the N1 South in the Midrand area, just as you're approaching the Olifantsfontein Road off-ramp. More updates at the top of the hour. Stay tuned.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Oh man, Jill Scott is coming to SA. The 3-time Grammy Award-winning singer and songwriter, bringing her To Whom This May Concern tour to Gauteng this November. Power, passion, and that voice. I mean, the hits, Golden, A Long Walk, He Loves Me, all live on stage with a full band. One night only, Saturday 7 November at Sunbet Arena, Times Square. Get your tickets at Ticketmaster now. It's a once-in-a-lifetime night of soul with Jill Scott in proud association with 702.
Drivers of Scholar Transport vehicles carry a special duty of care. The lives entrusted to you demand professionalism, discipline, and unwavering responsibility. Every Scholar Transport driver must therefore comply with the following requirements. Ensure the vehicle is roadworthy at all times, with tires in good condition and seat belts fully functional. Always carry and visibly display the non-transferable driver identity card for verification purposes. Use designated and safe pickup and drop-off points at schools and homes. Every journey is a responsibility. Every child's life matters. Issued by the Department of Transport.
Zakes owns an electrical business that lit up the neighborhood. Literally. One small spark, one big legal nightmare. But he has public liability insurance from Budget. The damage was covered and his clients sorted. Sharp, sharp. To get public liability cover, visit budgetinsurance.co.za. Budget Insurance, official insurer for good South Africans. Budget is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
Coming up
on the Clement Manyatela Show
on 702.
Coming up between 9 and 12 is the Clement Manyatela Show.
Good morning.
It's a very hot show with a very hot host.
Oh, okay.
Clement Manyatela.
Thank you. Do you know what's coming up?
So you tell us, how hot is it going to be?
Okay, this is
morning?
how hot it's going to be. We're going to reflect on the ad hoc committee. So they're done with witnesses. Yesterday, Ntlanhla Mkhwanazi was basically the last returning witness before they start deliberations. And then...
You and me in a room, who comes out?
What was that?
Remember that moment where they said with Adams?
Yes.
Put us in a room, only one of us comes out.
Oh, who comes out, yeah. But he was so honest. I loved how frank he was, even when he told the MPs that, shouting at witnesses doesn't really take us too far. So I'm going to play some of the clips of what he has said, and I want to ask the listeners, are you satisfied with the work of the ad hoc committee so far? Of course, it's very different to the Madlanga Commission, but are there things that came out from the ad hoc committee that you think have helped us understand more about the rot in the criminal justice system? So that's on the open line. But at 10 o'clock, we're going to do the hanging out feature. Today, we are hanging out with a legendary actor. He has had a career that spans over about 30 years. He was on Gazlam. He played a pastor there, if I'm not mistaken. He was on Jerusalem. He was on Isitingwe at some point.
Abu Tau?
No. Okay.
No.
Kenneth Nkosi is going to be on our hangout today at 10.
I was never going to get there.
And then at 11 o'clock, we're gonna do two conversations today on our Thursday dialogue because we just think they're that pressing. So we're going to start with what you spoke about today, the TRC commission there. What is going on? The president has just... And in fact, it's actually a show of disrespect to someone that you bring up and you say, I want you to do this important work, and then now you leave them dry. So I've got some families, I've got the former TRC commissioner and a legal expert who's going to join us. We're also going to be joined by CAF and a journalist in Senegal to continue the chat from yesterday about how they are responding to that decision by the appeals board.
All right, come in Manyatela between 9 and 12.
The team's on a roll today. Let me focus on payroll. Duty calls in the kitchen. That's why I have a business insurer that is agile and on the ball all the time on all things. I chose My Way Business Insurance, getting 24/7 emergency service and saving on my premiums, plus my business assist to handle my admin.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My Way. Live your way.
Selling your car this new year, WeBuyCars makes it quick and easy. Simply complete the form on webuycars.co.za to get the best offer in minutes. Then visit your nearest pod or branch or have WeBuyCars come to you. Ready for a new ride? Browse thousands of budget-friendly vehicles online or in store today. WeBuyCars, the quickest way to buy or sell.
Brush, stroke, paint, color, protect, and admire. From roof paint to exterior textures and interior silk, Warrior Paints has it all. The product range and stylish colors are amazing. And what's more, Warrior Paints has crushed prices for incredible savings. Enjoy that good old-fashioned personal service you deserve. For price, quality, variety, and service, Warrior Paints is streets ahead. Warrior Paints. Affordable, lasting luxury.
This is Breakfast with Bongani Bingwa
on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
On to this now. I'm really, really excited about this interview. Picture this, a 10-story building in the heart of Johannesburg's CBD, alive with energy, classrooms filled with young, exploring minds, looking at artificial intelligence, robotics, cybersecurity, digital innovation. No. Remember that old program, Beyond 2000? We're not talking about the world of the future. We're talking about right now. Happening, of course, because of the work of a South African pioneer, a tech pioneer, a philanthropist, a venture capitalist. David and Tracy Frankel are, of course, the couple behind it. And I'm so pleased to tell you that David Frankel is with us in studio this morning. Welcome to 702 Breakfast, and thank you for coming in.
Great pleasure to be with you here, Bongani. Thanks for having me.
Your story is just such a powerful example of the impact of your family, certainly, on South African business, but also being able to turn all of, shall I say, the blessings you have received into a meaningful gift for the wider society at large. So let's go back to the story of your great-grandfather who comes to South Africa from Germany and really has to start from scratch.
Well, I mean, I never met my great-grandfather. Obviously, my grandfather was a mentor, incredible mentor to me. But, the family business had certainly been sold by the time that I came of age. So I was just very lucky to have parents who valued education the way they did, and was able to do engineering through Wits, and then meet and hang out with the amazing Apteker brothers. So Alon and Ronnie Apteker started, 1993. Ronnie really was the catalyst for internet solutions, and that really was my formative era in tech.
You're being bashful about your background, so I'm going to say what you won't say. And really the relevance of it, of course, is that you come from this long line of high business impact in South Africa. So your great-grandfather comes from Germany to South Africa. Your grandfather passes on, of course, the legacy, starts a business that eventually becomes Tiger Brands. You come into that picture, as you've just explained, about your involvement with internet solutions. And then, of course, you go overseas and you're part of the investment community looking at all these bright new ideas. I believe you're one of the first people, for example, to recognize the potential of e-hailing services.
Well, again, there, right place, right time. Lucky to have attended HBS. So went back to business school after we sold internet solutions to Dimension Data. And I met my incredible founding partner, Eric Paley, there. And we set up Founder Collective. So that was, it's been an amazing, amazing journey that I'm so grateful for. And of course, Eric was the one who wrote the first check into Uber. And we've been blessed with some extraordinary companies, winding all the way up to the future to, a company called Suno, which is, probably the top AI music company in the world today. So we just keep on doing this, and it pretty much leads me into why we're here this morning, because, my passion and my privilege has been to try find amazing entrepreneurs. And people think of entrepreneurs as for-profit only. But, I came across Taddy Bletcher many years ago, and I think of entrepreneurs as just people who are going to change the world. And he's one of the most amazing entrepreneurs I've ever met.
He really is a remarkable individual, of course, behind the Maharishi Institute, now the Maharishi Next Up Institute of Technology, situated in Marshalltown. And that's the building I was describing a little earlier on. And the idea, of course, is to create this hub where some of the country's most underserved youth who wouldn't otherwise get exposure to those kinds of careers and opportunities. And as you say, it's all about changing the world and seeing what is coming next. So tell me about the potential then of this tech hub right in the Joburg CBD.
Yeah. I mean, Bongani, we're just blown away by what's going on there. I've been back a few times now, and each time it just gets better and better. And I think a lot of that's credit to the Josie My Josie initiative and just this regeneration. But my wife and I have been on a 6-year journey. And, during COVID, we started to think to ourselves, and in fact, just pre-COVID, about South Africa's youth. And we'd come back to Johannesburg, which is very much our hometown and has given us so much, and just drive around, and it's just so obvious. It's like, what do you do in terms of employment and dignity? And, a good friend of mine, an inspiration, says to me, we're the people we've been waiting for.
Right.
Right. So if not us,
who?
Who?
Yeah.
And so we went on this journey, and a lot of our work was in 11, where we set up our Next Up Foundation, and really learnt a lot the hard way, frankly. Everything, everyone looks at the bright, shiny hood and thinks and it's, the truth is it's always a process of learning. And if we're not doing that, life's no fun. But we've been on this journey of learning and hanging out with young people in tough areas. And I think you have to go there.
And see what life really is like.
And it's another world.
Part of the reason I insisted on outlining your background and your family's background, not only in terms of the high impact you've had on this society, but one of my preoccupations is this youth dividend we get told about. And I wonder if through technology, there are opportunities to leapfrog some of the traditional pathways to success. And I wonder if part of what you could do here is to take kids who are from these rough areas, these underserved communities, and be able to get them to be not only part of the mainstream, but maybe to come up with innovations we haven't even thought about?
Well, I mean, the technology and where we are right now in this moment, AI obviously offers huge opportunities, but challenges as well. So, you know, the level at which the technology is moving now can leave people behind just as easily. So you really have to be aware and be on the cutting edge again. And I think this is where, you know, Maharishi and Taddy intersected with us. So we had been able to place some of our young people there at Maharishi. And in fact, we've got people now who are freshmen coming in and third years who've been placed there from our program. So we got to see a little bit of what they were doing. And there's truly this vision of we are world class. And South Africans are world class. South Africans have kind of think of themselves as, you know, we can't be as good as, I don't know, the global north. But South Africans that I see around the world are world class.
And that impact is certainly what you prove. I mean, just gaze into your crystal ball, if you will. What do you hope 5-10 years from now will have come out of this venture?
Yeah, so I love the way you ask that, because the launch is, you know, that is the talk, right? The doing. Whenever people say to me, how's it going? I say, I'll tell you in 5 years' time. And so you ask the perfect question. The key intention here is that we have tenants, employers in the building. And Altron's taken the lead, but other companies such as ABSA and Liberty have been very involved with MII. But what we really need is we need 10 floors of tenants. And this is the idea of demand-driven education. So, you know, there are many, many institutions that are educating kids. But the question is, are you educating correctly for the demand? And South Africa has something like 30,000 offshored tech jobs. That means we're giving our tech jobs to another country where those communities are enriched, those families are enriched. It's insane. So what we're trying to do here is go, okay, what's the demand? So if you need a cyber security engineer, what are the 14 certifications you need? So tell us the Google, Microsoft, Cisco, you name it. Just tell us what you need, and we will train someone to do that. But it's more than that, right? Because, you know, just the knowledge is one thing, the attitude, the mannerism, the workplace readiness, the confidence. We're dealing with kids here who have come from tough neighborhoods, tough family circumstances, not all of them, but a fair amount of them. So the readiness to sit in an environment like this and feel confident, this is all part and parcel of this package.
And the resilience, right? The resilience of many of those kids. To anybody who listens to us or who's listening to us now and wants to get in touch with the Maharishi Next Up Institute of Technology to have conversations about possibilities, how do they get in touch?
Yeah, I mean, really, look us up. Look up Maharishi on the web. The truth is, we're going before we're saying. So the media and the website and stuff is lagging. But you can look up Next Up, and you can see the announcements in nextup.org.za. And certainly, if you go to the Maharishi Invisibility Institute, and frankly, if you just drive on the highway now, right, you just can't help but miss.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. You can't help but see it.
And really your message is come with us.
Yeah, come with us.
Come with us on this journey. Let's change Joburg. Let's change South Africa, and let's build
Josie, my Josie's doing that.
Yeah.
Just join us.
Yeah. David Frankel, appreciate your time. South African tech pioneer, a philanthropist, and really somebody who is thinking about this society and the impact of all of us and what we can do. It's been a great pleasure to have you on our
real
show.
Pleasure. Thanks, Bongani.
702 podcasts are on 702.co.za.
We're a minute over time, and before Clement Manyatela smacks me, I got to get out of here. We'll see you bright and early for the Friday edition of 702 Breakfast. But the Clement Manyatela show starts now.
This is EWN.
Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says he has enough evidence to get suspended. Good morning, I'm Sfiso Zulu. KwaZulu-Natal top cop Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says he has enough evidence to get suspended Deputy National Commissioner Shadrack Sibia arrested and charged for allegedly colluding with criminals. Mkhwanazi last night concluded his evidence before Parliament's ad hoc committee that's investigating alleged direct interference in the country's justice system. He also maintained that suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu was allegedly captured by those opposed to the political killings task team. Babalo Ndenze reports.
Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, during his evidence last year, accused Shadrack Sibiya of having links to criminal underworld kingpins like Vusimuzi Matlala. But Sibiya denied the claims, saying they were designed to prevent him from becoming the next police commissioner. Last night, committee member Diane Kohler-Barnard asked Mkhwanazi about the evidence against Sibiya.
Are you satisfied that you have sufficient evidence against Lieutenant General Shadrack Sibiya to have him arrested, charged?
Mkhwanazi says based on the case that he opened against him in KZN, he's confident that the net is closing in on Sibiya.
From what the case I opened in KZN, I'm confident with that. And from what I gather from the team working in Gauteng, there's quite